Chapter 581. Xing Hui. From within the blazing flames, a furious roar rang out. Immediately after, 3 golden lights shot up into the sky, carrying a vast and terrifying aura as they soared into the clouds. Beside them, hundreds of figures soared into the void and quickly filled the surroundings, avoiding the aftermath of the explosion caused by the destruction of the battleship. More than 10 kilometers in front of them, Xing Hui, who had unleashed the sunburst sword, stood in the void and looked at the 3 figures who had rushed out of the flames. He was slightly surprised. However, he was only slightly surprised. If it were before, the 3 Almighties might have caused him trouble, a headache, or even a sense of helplessness. However, now, Xing Hui turned his gaze and looked at the Gold Core Realm experts who had flown up into the void from the explosion. Even though the might of his sword was enormous and peerlessly swift, under the deliberate control of its lethality, it was unable to cause too much damage to the experts of the Golden Core Realm. As a result, there were actually an entire 230 experts of the Golden Core Realm that had flown up into the sky. Even if only 70% of them were captured alive by him, it would be sufficient for him to perfect the Golden Core Realm and attempt to derive a supreme ability. I think I've seen you before, Holy Sage Guang, who had flown up into the void, sized up Xing Hui for a moment. Soon, she seemed to have thought of something. You're the Gold Core Realm cultivator who followed us at the auction a few months ago. Mu Xingping and the rest had escaped with my help, but they were all annihilated. Even the Gold Core Realm alchemy puppet that we spent a lot of money to buy is missing. I'm afraid these things have fallen into your hands, right? Hearing Saint Guang's words, a cold glint flashed in Saint Jean Yu's eyes. You dare to have ideas about my, Saint Jean Yu's, things. You really have big guts. Looks like no matter what, I can't let you live today. Live? Xing Hui looked at the 3 Almighties in front of him and did not want to waste time talking to them. In the next moment, the Sky Splitter sword's speed exploded. His entire body was like a stream of light that shot toward the Gold Core Realm cultivators. Damn it! Your opponent is us. Seeing that Xing Hui was still going to kill the Golden Core cultivator, Dharma King Su roared angrily. The mirrored flowers, reflected moon above his head appeared again. Streams of light shot towards Xing Hui, forming a space distortion in an attempt to trap him. However, before the catoptric deflection could trap Xing Hui for even a moment, the Sword of Sunlight's radiance had already erupted once again. The resplendent radiance mixed with blazing shockwaves made the void seem as if it had ignited a blazing sun, instantly annihilating all living beings and matter within a radius of several kilometers. And this was because the space here had been distorted by Dharma King Achixu's mirror flower, Water Moon. Otherwise, if the power of the Sword of Sunburst truly erupted, it would not be difficult for it to completely ignite the space within a radius of several dozen kilometers and turn it into hell. As expected, this attack was indeed unleashed using that peerless divine weapon. This peerless divine weapon actually has such a profound ability, to allow a Golden Core Realm cultivator to unleash a terrifying attack that is not inferior to a great divine ability. 16th level. This is definitely a 16th level divine weapon. If I can take this divine weapon for myself, won't I be able to move unhindered in the great divine ability realm? Holy Sage Golden Feather's eyes lit up when he saw this. Both of you, what are you waiting for? Dharma King Su shouted. Seeing this, Holy Sage Guang was about to unleash a divine ability to stop Xing Hui, who was charging towards the Golden Core cultivators of the Arcane Art sect. However, before he could do anything, Holy Sage Golden Feather's voice rang in his ears. Reserve your strength. Holy Sage Guang was a little confused. Holy Sage, didn't we already come to an agreement with Dharma King Su? Holy Sage Guang, don't forget that the Arcane Art sect has 3 Almighties. Why is it that only Dharma King Su is here now? Where are the other 2 Almighties? Moreover, even if we don't count the 2 Almighties, just the 200 over Golden Core Elders before us, if they cooperate with Dharma King Yi Su, do you think we can stop them? You're saying that Dharma King Yi Su will attack us? That's impossible. We've already made a chaos oath. If he doesn't keep his word, we'll lose 5 chaos levels. This kind of loss isn't something that an ordinary person can bear. What's 5 chaos levels to him? No matter if it's the 12th level flying sword or the 16th level divine weapon on Tsing Hui, which one of them isn't worth 5 chaos levels and above? As long as Dharma King Yi Su can take over Tsing Hui's 16th level divine weapon and 12th level flying sword, not only will he be able to get back the 5 chaos levels that he lost immediately, the Dao carrying item that he exchanged for will be more than enough to raise his chaos level by another 5 levels. Holy Sage Yinguang heard Holy Sage Golden Feather's words and hesitated for a moment. In the end, she didn't say anything. Apart from this, you've also seen the power of the sword light that Tsing Hui unleashed with the help of the divine weapon. That's a terrifying attack that's almost at the level of a great magical power. If we're not careful, I'm afraid we'll be in danger of being seriously injured. I've observed carefully. This kind of attack can only be unleashed with the help of the divine weapon. There's a limit to the number of times. Why don't we use the Golden Core Elders of the Arcane Arts sect to deplete the power of his divine weapon? We'll just do it as a gesture. Holy Sage Golden Feather said. Holy Sage Yinguang nodded. Although they were almighties, the attack of Tsing Hui's Sword of Sunlight was still extremely dangerous. If they weren't careful, their lives would be in danger. He, Yinguang, was only hired to help Dharma King Yi Su attack Tsing Hui. It didn't mean that he would risk his life for Dharma King Yi Su. Why not use the people of the Arcane Arts sect to deplete the power of Tsing Hui's divine weapon? At that moment, Holy Sage Golden Feather and Holy Sage Yinguang began to symbolically chase after Tsing Hui. Once Tsing Hui turned around and seemed to want to deal with the two of them immediately retreated without hesitation. They didn't want to have any substantial confrontation with Tsing Hui at all. When Dharma King Yi Su saw this scene, he was naturally furious. Holy Sage Golden Feather, Holy Sage Yinguang, what are you doing? Don't forget our agreement. Don't worry, we'll carry out the agreement. We won't let Tsing Hui get away. That's right, Dharma King Yi Su. You only said that Tsing Hui's attack with the help of the divine weapon is close to a great divine power, but you didn't say that these attacks are already not inferior to almighties. If we knew that his attack was so fierce, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been willing to come over. Therefore, if we really want to attack with our full strength, we'll have to wait until the power of his divine weapon is almost exhausted and his attack falls back to the level of a normal great divine power. Holy Sage Yinguang and Holy Sage Golden Feather responded with a perfunctory attitude. You, Dharma King Yi Su was shocked and furious. However, he had to rely on the power of Holy Sage Golden Feather and Holy Sage Yinguang to have a chance of capturing Tsing Hui alive. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and didn't dare to flare up. Instead, he roared at the elders in the Golden Elixir realm, "Quick, form a battle formation, and defend with all your might." Ao Xian's expression was gloomy as he constantly commanded the many Golden Elixir realm experts to defend with all their might. Unfortunately, Tsing Hui, who was going all out and had the advantage of the Sky Splitter, was not someone a mere Golden Elixir realm cultivator could defend against. He charged forward again and again. Otherwise, several Golden Elixir realm cultivators would be captured alive. Even if they formed a large-scale battle formation with dozens or close to 100 people, he could still rely on the advantage of the speed of the Sky Splitter to easily kill his way into it, shuttling back and forth. In just a short moment, the elders in the Golden Elixir realm on the Arcane Sect's side had already collapsed. Is the Arcane Sect really going to be finished? How can we defend against this? How can we defend against this? Our opponent's speed is so fast that we have no time to chase after him. Once he draws his sword, someone from our side will definitely die. This isn't a battle, this is waiting for death, this is waiting for death. Although I've relied on the help of the arcane sect to achieve what I have today, I've worked hard for the arcane sect all these years and have long repaid all the favors I owe them. Today, I'll no longer risk my life for anyone, I'll only live for myself. I've cultivated to the golden elixir realm for less than 10 years and can enjoy a lifespan of 3,000 years. I've yet to enjoy the good years ahead of me, how can I die here in vain? Accompanied by waves of exclamations and screams, many of the elders in the arcane sect could no longer maintain their previous formation. As 20 to 30 of the remaining 200 golden elixir realm elders fled for their lives, a chain reaction was formed in one fell swoop. Not only did it cause the remaining elders to panic, it also caused the great formation that they had painstakingly set up to fail, causing the scene to descend into chaos. Taking advantage of the chaos, Tsing Hui once again charged forward, severely injuring and capturing the golden elixir realm elders alive. By the time he had broken through the obstruction of Dharma King Aksu's mirage for the 6th time, the number of golden elixir realm elders he had captured alive had already reached 82. Including the golden elixir realm experts he had captured the last time, there were a total of 233 people. It could be said that almost half of the golden elixir realm elders in the arcane sect have been captured alive by him alone. It should be about time to capture those cultivators who have fled further away. Tsing Hui's gaze fell on the many golden elixir realm cultivators who had already fled some distance away, and once again captured 12 of them alive. At this time, the arcane sect's formation that had originally reached 230 people had already fallen to less than 100. After all, even if Tsing Hui had intentionally controlled the power of his sword qi in order to capture as many golden elixir realm elders as possible, there were times when he could not control his own power and would still cause these golden elixir realm elders to fall. It was just that this ratio was slightly lower than the ratio of capturing them alive. Lord Golden Feather, Lord Reflection, the divine weapon in his hand can no longer unleash attacks that are close to the level of a great remarkable ability. If you don't act now, when are you going to? Dharma King Iko Su watched as the golden elixir realm elders, who could be considered the backbone of the arcane sect, were killed one after another. His patience towards Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection had already reached its limit. Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection did not dare to continue going easy on Yu Yang in order to prevent them from gaining nothing or even being punished by the Chaos Oath. They immediately responded, Dharma King Iko Su, use your remarkable ability to trap him. I'll use the Crimson Gold killing technique and severely injure or even kill him in one fell swoop to secure victory. Alright. Dharma King Iko Su did not dare to delay. The remarkable ability of the Crimson Gold killing technique appeared above his head once again. A beam of light shot out from the mirror and landed in the void where Tsing Hui was in an instant, distorting the void where he was. It's about time. The moment Tsing Hui was trapped by Dharma King Iko Su's remarkable ability, his figure also stopped. As he waved his hand, the Crimson Sun Demon God, who carried 108 Crimson Sun swords on his back, had already appeared beside him. Then, it expanded like a living armor, enveloping his body within. Chapter 582. The Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Scarlet Sun Demon God of our arcane spell sect. Seeing that Tsing Hui had taken out the Scarlet Sun Demon God, Disciplined King Aksu's eyes turned red. How did the Scarlet Sun Demon God appear in Tsing Hui's hands? Oh right, no wonder Dharma King Aksu insisted on capturing Ching Su alive. It's actually because of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Scarlet Sun Demon God has actually fallen into the hands of this kid, Ching Su, a long time ago. That's exactly why Dharma King Aksu wants to take him for himself regardless of the cost. Damn it, Disciplined King Aksu wants us to fight against the Scarlet Sun Demon God, whose combat power is comparable to an Earth-level celestial phenomenon expert. Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection Light were stunned when Tsing Hui took out the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Rumble. Tsing Hui, who had taken out the Scarlet Sun Demon God, did not care about the three powerful figures' reactions. As the deep scarlet sword extended from the right arm of the scarlet sun demon god, he waved his hand and a terrifying and scorching power was drawn out from the scarlet sun demon god's power source and injected into the deep scarlet sword. Coupled with the power of the gold core contained in the deep scarlet sword, the sword tore apart the distortion formed by the catoptric deflection. Blazing flames sputtered in all directions continuously. The power was so strong that it made Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection Light's expressions change drastically. Swoosh! Tearing apart the distortion formed by the catoptric deflection, Xing Hui took a step forward. Although his speed was not fast, it was filled with a heavy and oppressive feeling. Moreover, as he took a step forward, the 108 scarlet sun swords behind him extended and charged at the same time. They emitted a dazzling sword light and shot out. The 108 slender scarlet sun swords formed a sword blade storm that swept across the sky. In an instant, it enveloped disciplined King Axu and attacked him crazily. Catoptric deflection. Disciplined King Axu roared. The round mirror above his head emitted circles of ripples that distorted the surrounding space, causing the space within a radius of a few hundred meters around him to be dislocated. The 108 scarlet sun swords that shot into the area would be stopped by an invisible force every time they were about to hit disciplined King Axu. They would be deflected to the side and fall into the air. Some of the scarlet sun swords were even controlled by King Axu's divine power to controlled swords as divine power caused the swords to collide with each other and emitted dazzling flames. Swords' radiance overflowed sword light. At first glance, it was King Axu seemed King Axu seemed to be swallowed by the flames. The two of you, attack quickly. King's Hui's swords. At this moment, Saint Master Golden Feather and Saint Master Reflection Light no longer hesitated. They gritted their teeth and performed their divine powers. Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power was the scarlet gold killing technique. A short knife that looked like the tooth of a white tiger floated in the void, emitting a scarlet light. The divine power had just been created, but the killing and biting cold aura contained in the divine power had already rushed over. This kind of condensed, solid, single-target attack was usually the most terrifying. No wonder Saint Master Golden Feather dared to say that his divine power would fight against a great divine power. Compared to Saint Master Golden Feather, Saint Master Reflection Light's divine power was much inferior. His divine power was similar to an illusion. With the help of the light, he could create dozens of clones of himself. These clones could change and move at will. Moreover, they looked exactly the same as him. Even their spiritual and genuine chi waves were no exception. Hiding the real body in the illusory body was exquisite, but the degree of threat was much inferior to Saint Master Golden Feather's. This kind of divine power, Xing Hui operated his chi-observing skill and looked at Saint Master Reflection Light. Although Saint Master Reflection Light's illusory body was exactly the same as him, no matter how real it was, there would still be differences and fluctuations in the aura. The strength of the aura was the basis of the chi-observing skill's judgment. Therefore, Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power was destroyed by Xing Hui the moment she performed it. As for Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power, Seeing that Xing Hui was rapidly approaching him, Saint Master Golden Feather had no time to perfect the scarlet gold killing technique with his lesser divine power and push it to the great divine power level. With a roar, the dagger-like knife chopped down from the sky. With a biting cold scarlet light, it filled the void and completely filled the space within a radius of several hundred meters around Xing Hui. Every streak of scarlet light could become the attack trajectory of the scarlet gold killing technique. There was no way to defend or dodge. Since there's no way to defend or dodge, then I'll let you defend. Attack where he has to defend. The Scarlet Sun Demon God's huge body surged. The Scarlet Abyss Sword, which looked a little small, shot out a huge sword light that was more than 10 meters long. In the sword light, there was a strong light, as if there was a sun hidden in it. Just the light emitted from the sword light had completely ignited the space around the sword. When the sword really chopped down, the area within a radius of several hundred meters was filled with rolling heat. It was suffocating. Like a roaring fire dragon, it completely covered Saint Master Golden Feather's body. Damn it! Turn! As the fire dragon swept over, Saint Master Golden Feather had to twist his hand. The scarlet gold killing technique, which almost left Xing Hui with no way to dodge, suddenly reversed. Under the trajectory marked by the scarlet light, it chopped down on Xing Hui's huge flaming sword at an incredible speed. Rumble! Flames soared into the sky. For a moment it was as if a meteor had crashed into the atmosphere. The space within a radius of several thousand meters was ignited at the same time. And at the core of the collision, the burning flames seemed to be suppressed by an invisible giant hand, forming a fiery vacuum. In the center of the fiery vacuum, the dagger formed by the scarlet gold killing technique and the sword light from the scarlet abyss sword froze at the same time, crack. Finally, the frozen scene lasted for a moment before it was broken by a soft sound. The tip of the dagger formed by the scarlet gold killing technique first had a large number of cracks. Then, the cracks spread to the entire dagger, and in the next moment, it shattered with a bang. On the other hand, the sword light from the scarlet abyss sword that had been infused with the scarlet sun demon god's power source, although the light was dim and on the verge of collapse, but it was still able to maintain a 10-meter-long sword body. It seems that your crimson gold killing skill is much weaker than I imagined. Since your crimson gold killing skill is useless, let me send you on your way. After destroying the scarlet gold killing technique, Xing Hui suddenly leaped forward again. The scarlet sun demon god held the terrifying huge sword that was burning with blazing flames, sweeping up the dazzling flames that filled the space within a radius of several hundred meters. He charged straight at Saint Master Golden Feather in front of him. Before he arrived, the suffocating power of the flames had already surged over. He was really like a peerless demon god that had broken out of the sulfur hell. Take my attack. At this moment, Saint Master Ingguang brazenly attacked. Terrifying energy waves spread out from his body and swept over, making him look like a meteor that tore through the sky. His aura was so fierce and vast that no one doubted that if they were hit by his attack, the result would be earth-shattering. However, faced with such a powerful attack, Xing Hui did not even look at it. He allowed it to crash into his body and turn into a cluster of flowing light. He then took a large step forward and slashed down with the terrifying huge sword that was burning with blazing flames in his hand. Wherever the tip of the sword passed by, the space became distorted due to the high temperature. Saint Master Golden Feather, who was under the sword, had a drastic change in expression. A pair of wings extended from his back and he quickly retreated. Saint Master Golden Feather's gold referred to his unparalleled scarlet gold killing technique. Feather referred to the pair of flowing light wings that were as fast as an 11th level flying sword. It was precisely because of the absolute combination of attack and speed that he was able to make a name for himself in the transcendent realm. He even had a glorious battle record of killing 3 almighties. From these two aspects, his attack method and movement path were similar to Xing Hui's. It was a pity, apart from his defensive methods and variations, his strongest attack and fastest speed were much slower than Xing Hui's. Swish! The moment Saint Master Golden Feather retreated, the Skysplitter sword light had already shot out from the Scarlet Sun Demon God. It was so fast that it was almost impossible to see with one's eyes as it viciously slashed at Saint Master Golden Feather's retreating body. Even though Saint Master Golden Feather sensed danger and immediately condensed a stream of scarlet gold light to block the Skysplitter sword's attack, the kinetic energy within the sword still caused him to tremble and lose his balance. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xing Hui advanced brazenly. The Scarlet Sun Demon God's 10-meter-long sword slashed down with a boom. Like an undying sun, it completely swallowed Saint Master Golden Feather's body. With a violent boom, a visible wave of heat exploded as a shockwave, reducing all the airflow within 10,000 meters to dust. In the midst of the blazing flames, Golden Feather Holy Sage spat out a mouthful of blood. Like a cannonball, he flew back and crashed into the sea below. The huge force almost flattened the surface of the sea below, and a small tsunami of a dozen meters high was set off in the surrounding dozens of kilometers. Saint Master Golden Feather. Saint Master Nguang exclaimed when she saw Saint Master Golden Feather being slashed into the sea by Tsing Hui's sword. She turned into a dozen figures and rushed over. Tsing Hui glanced over and instantly caught sight of Saint Master Nguang's body among the dozen figures. Then, he slashed horizontally. The blazing flames were mixed with the power to annihilate an army, and nearly half of the dozen figures were engulfed in it. Bang! Saint Master Nguang's attack fell heavily on the layer of scarlet flowing light on the surface of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. Immediately, circles of light burst out from the layer of scarlet flowing light and formed a visible shockwave near the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. It was so powerful that it could crush any cultivator below the Saint Realm. What a strong defense! Saint Master Nguang's eyes widened. However, before he had time to be shocked, a burst of blazing flames mixed with suffocating heat rolled over. As Saint Master Nguang raised his head, he was shocked to find that the 10-meter-long giant sword was already very close to him. Oh no! Saint Master Nguang retreated quickly, and the aura of the divine technique surged all over his body, causing his speed to soar in an instant. But the next moment, Tsing Hui's left hand had already reached him, as if he had already expected his reaction. The huge palm was like a net swatting a fly, and it hit Saint Master Nguang hard. And the direction that hit him was the 10-meter-long giant sword in his right hand. No! With a horrified scream, Holy Senior Nguang's figure collided with the 10-meter-long giant sword that was slashing down. With sparks flying in all directions, Holy Senior Nguang's body was cut in half in the air with a shrill scream. Chapter 583. Sliced at the waist. Holy Saint Reflecting Light was sliced at the waist by the Scarlet Sun Demon God controlled by Tsing Hui. Holy Saint Golden Feather, who was about to break out of the water after being slapped into the bottom of the sea, could not help but shiver when he saw this terrifying scene. He felt a bone-piercing chill running through his limbs and toward his heart. It was so cold that he found it difficult to breathe. This is too terrifying. This is too frightening. Is this the power of the Scarlet Sun Demon God? Holy Saint Golden Feather shivered at the bottom of the sea. In the next moment, he dashed toward the bottom of the sea without hesitation. Then, he escaped. You saw through my divine power. Holy Saint Reflecting Light held her breath as she glared at Tsing Hui. However, Tsing Hui did not reply. He sensed Holy Saint Reflecting Light's consciousness, divine soul power, and body that was emitting terrifying vitality in energy waves. Suddenly, he had an idea and performed a supreme divine power. Flower blooming instantly, a 7-colored flower fell and enveloped Holy Saint Reflecting Light in the blink of an eye. Before her consciousness completely dissipated, it extracted all her essence, qi, and spirit from her body and took it away, forming a bright red fruit of Tao. This fruit of Tao, Tsing Hui sensed it carefully for a moment. He could not help but look delighted. Under the divine power, the quality of the fruit of Tao can be improved by a lot. He was overjoyed by this discovery. However, although Holy Saint Reflecting Light was dead and Holy Saint Golden Feather had escaped, there was still Dharma King Eccentric waiting for him to deal with. Moreover, Dharma King Eccentric was the main person he really needed to kill. Otherwise, as long as Dharma King Eccentric was alive, the Hidden Sword Mainland and the Eastern Wilderness Mainland would be under his threat. The Scarlet Sun Demon God was created by the Arcane Art Sect. It's a worthy death for you to die under the sword of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Tsing Hui spun and pounced towards Dharma King Su swiftly. Right now, Akaraja Aksu was using his water mirror's image to constantly control the 108 Scarlet Sun swords around him, causing them to clash constantly. Many of the Scarlet Sun swords had already been damaged. In such a short period of time, 26 of the 108 Scarlet Sun swords had already lost their intelligence and energy, falling to the ground. It would probably take time and energy to nourish them again. Among the remaining 82 Crimson Sun swords, many of them had dimmed. Their speed and lethality had been greatly reduced, and it would not be long before they were all destroyed by Dharma King Eccentric. From this point of view, Discipline King Iko Su was indeed worthy of being the second strongest expert of the meteorite iron continent. If Discipline King Iko Su were to fight against the Scarlet Sun Demon God who was not under anyone's control, the final outcome would still be unknown. Discipline King Eccentric had already sensed the abnormality when Xing Hui was charging towards him. His gaze immediately turned towards Saint Master Guang and Saint Master Golden Feather. When he saw Saint Master Guang, who had been cut in half and died on the spot, and Saint Master Golden Feather, who had fled and whose aura could not even be sensed, his eyes immediately showed pain and unwillingness. Damn it! The Scarlet Sun Demon God that my arcane sect had spent so much effort to create has actually become someone else's wedding dress. However, do you think you can enjoy this Scarlet Sun Demon God with peace of mind? I'm going to spread the news and inform the powerful experts of the other sects on the meteorite iron continent. From now on, you'll be subjected to endless assassinations by me and these powerful experts who covet the Scarlet Sun Demon God. I hope you can still protect the Scarlet Sun Demon God by then. After saying that, he actually made a prompt decision and turned to leave. As the owner of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, he naturally understood how powerful the Scarlet Sun Demon God was. Going against it would only lead to a dead end. Temporarily avoiding it was his only option. Leave. Since I've already appeared here, do you think you can leave? Xing Hui waved his hand and the flowing light boundary formed by the Lihan Heaven Realm immediately enveloped both Discipline King Exu and Xing Hui. The Lihan Heaven Realm. The Lihan Heaven Realm. This is the Lihan Heaven Realm of the Lihan Holy Man. This is the magic item that made the Lihan Holy Man famous. How could it be in your hands? The moment Discipline King Exu was enveloped by the Lihan Heaven Realm, he truly felt the fear of death in his heart. In a few days, the Lihan Heaven Realm has recovered slightly. Even though it hasn't recovered to its peak, as long as I don't give you too many opportunities to destroy the Lihan Heaven Realm, it's more than enough to deal with you. Xing Hui clenched his fist as he sprinted toward Discipline King Exu. Instantly, the space within the Lihan Heaven Realm shrunk continuously, closing the distance between Xing Hui and Discipline King Exu. Very soon, the two of them were about to engage in a life-and-death battle in a small space with a diameter of less than 100 meters. The Scarlet Sun Fiend God's greatest weakness was its speed. With the Lihan Heaven Realm's ability to shrink the battlefield, this weakness of speed was completely compensated for. In fact, even Discipline King Exu's catoptric deflection was severely restrained in the Lihan Heaven Realm. The catoptric deflection could distort the space outside, but after this space became the home of the Lihan Heaven Realm, how could he reverse it? No. Dharma King Aksu roared angrily. The mirror light above his head, formed from the mirrored flowers, reflected moon, spread in all directions in a futile attempt to break free of the hatred-parting heaven's restraint and control over this space, but, the results were minimal. And while he was attacking the Lihan Heaven Realm with all his might with the catoptric deflection, the Scarlet Sun Fiend God that Xing Hui was piloting had already charged in front of Discipline King Exu, and then, slash. He raised his sword and slashed. Buzz buzz. At the critical moment, Discipline King Exu hurriedly channeled the power of the catoptric deflection to block the Scarlet Sun Fiend God's thunderous slash. However, it was useless. Now that the space around Discipline King Exu was sealed, there was no way to dodge and he could only use the catoptric deflection to block with difficulty. The Scarlet Sun Fiend God's slash did not break the catoptric deflection. No matter. If one slash did not work, then 2 slashes. If 2 slashes did not work, then 3 slashes, 4 slashes, 5 slashes, 6 slashes, slash. 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 Rumble. Violent booms reverberated continuously in the narrow space of the Lihan heaven realm. Even though disciplined King Exu had extraordinary means, he could not dodge or hide. He could only endure the thunderous slashes of the Scarlet Sun Fiend God. I can't accept this. The catoptric deflection finally shattered after being hit by the Scarlet Sun Fiend God's 23rd slash. Accompanied by disciplined King Exu's sorrowful roar, his entire body was crushed under the giant flaming sword and turned into ashes. Phew! After killing disciplined King Exu, Tsing-Hui heaved a long sigh of relief. Disciplined King Exu's determination to fight to the death and his unflinching attitude cut off Tsing-Hui's thoughts of capturing him alive. Otherwise, disciplined King Exu might turn the tables if he was not careful. Energy consumption, 14%, 14%, this Scarlet Sun Fiend God is indeed a huge energy user. At this rate, a great sun core will be completely destroyed after 6 or 7 battles. No wonder the Scarlet Sun cult only managed to create 3 Scarlet Sun Fiend Gods back then. It's not that they did not have enough energy to continue creating them, it's just that they did not have enough great sun cores to drive them. I reckon the energy consumption of 3 Scarlet Sun Fiend Gods is almost enough to bankrupt them. Tsing-Hui glanced at the void battleship that was burning fiercely as it fell into the sea. He did not spend any more effort to continue killing the fleeing arcane art cult members. It would take too much effort. Now that he had exposed the Scarlet Sun Fiend God, it would not be long before the surrounding almighties would pounce on him like sharks that had smelled blood. With the Scarlet Sun Fiend God in hand, he did not care about 3 to 5 almighties. However, once the number of almighties broke through to the double digits, the consequences would be unimaginable. With the help of the incarnation technique, Tsing-Hui's figure shuttled and soon appeared on the Hidden Sword Continent. When he arrived on the Hidden Sword Continent's Burial Peak, he immediately activated the Burial Sword Peak's Great Formation and enveloped the mountain peak within. He then began to move the captured Golden Elixir Realm cultivators out one by one and woke them up one by one. You have a chance to escape, and that is to use the divine art. If you can escape from this mountain peak, you may still have a way out. Tsing-Hui said to the Golden Elixir Realm Elder who had been woken up. The divine art, the Golden Elixir Realm Elder's expression was extremely ugly. He immediately begged earnestly, "My lord, us cultivators have experienced countless hardships and dangers in the process of refining our golden elixirs. We have yet to experience the good years ahead of us. I don't want to die in vain like this. I'm willing to serve you from today onwards, at all costs. Please, my lord, give me a way out. You don't have the divine art. I'm just a first-rank son of chaos. Many of the Tao-carrying treasures have been shared by the various elders. How could I possibly have a chance?" the Golden Elixir Realm Elder said bitterly. Then. I'm sorry. As soon as Tsing-Hui finished speaking, he did not give the Golden Elixir Realm Elder a chance to react. Brilliant sword intent suddenly erupted, illuminating the Elder's mental world and severely injuring it on the spot. Then, the flower-blossoming divine art was unleashed. As the Golden Elixir Realm Elder screamed, it did not take long for all of his essence, qi, and spirit to be absorbed and condensed into a fruit of Tao. The fruit of Tao emitted powerful energy waves. As he looked at the fruit of Tao, Tsing-Hui fell silent. He was very clear that he was drifting further and further away from the path of morality. His bottom line had been trampled and reshaped again and again since the incident in the Union of Demon Hunters. What he was doing right now was even more immoral and immoral. But, Tsing-Hui closed his eyes and held the fruit of Tao. He sensed the majestic energy that seemed to be completely condensed from the essence of life emanating from the fruit of Tao. Since I've already made a mistake, I can only continue to make a mistake. If I die, I don't care what happens. In the next moment, the fruit of Tao condensed from the essence, qi, and spirit of a golden elixir realm cultivator was refined in one fell swoop. The majestic energy contained within was completely poured into the scarlet abyss sword. Continue. After refining the fruit of Tao, Tsing Hui's eyes flashed with a cold light. The next golden elixir realm elder was once again pulled out from his personal space. Use the divine art and try to escape. This is your only chance, bang. Even though this golden elixir realm elder knew that his chances of escape were slim, he did not hesitate. The divine art surged, and the energy waves all over his body instantly soared. He rose from the golden elixir realm to the level of a perfected superior-grade golden elixir realm cultivator. After all, the minimum requirement to derive a divine art was a perfected superior-grade golden elixir realm cultivator. Unfortunately, trying to escape from Tsing Hui's hands at this level was still wishful thinking. Not long after, this golden elixir realm elder was also transformed into a fruit of Tao. Furthermore, it was a superior-grade fruit of Tao that contained energy several times that of an ordinary fruit of Tao. Even though I lost a 10th-level chaos technique and 50 Taoist rhythms, the energy contained in a superior-grade fruit of Tao is nearly 10 times that of an ordinary fruit of Tao. It's close to the level of a golden crow's inner core. It's worth it. Chapter 584. A month later. Tsing Hui looked at the deep scarlet sword in his hand, his eyes sparkling. The deep scarlet sword was overflowing with red light. As he activated the deep scarlet sword with his sword intent, visible red energy ripples spread out. The pressure contained in the ripples was so strong that it was almost tangible. If an ordinary person were to stand in the range of the energy ripples, they would definitely be suffocated by the powerful pressure. Finally, it's complete. Tsing Hui looked at the deep scarlet sword in his hand with an indescribable complexity in his heart. To be able to cultivate a sovereign golden core to complete in such a short period of time was an unimaginable feat for anyone. Even for the geniuses of the heavenly Tao, divine wilderness, and eternal, if they wanted to cultivate a golden core to complete, let alone a sovereign golden core, even a peerless golden core would take a few hundred years. This was under the condition that the sect behind them would spare no effort to support them. If they relied on their own cultivation, the time limit would be at least 1,000 years. Furthermore, they might not even be able to take the final step to complete the golden core. As for him, relying on the extremely evil immortal technique, instant blooming flower, he had shortened the time limit of a few hundred years to a few months, unbelievable. However, thinking of the method he had used to cultivate his golden core to complete the golden core, Tsing Hui fell silent. He slowly put down the deep scarlet sword and closed his eyes. After a while, he opened his eyes again. A dim light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Since I've done it, there's nothing to regret. Perhaps, I will go to hell in the future. However, instead of using the word morality to bind my bottom line, causing me to suffer the condemnation and torment of my conscience, why not completely let go? Morality? Benevolence? It's just a shackle to cover up the fear in my heart. As for the original sin of fear, it stems from weakness. As long as I can continue to be tyrannical, traverse the heavens and earth, look down on everything and become invincible, then I will never have to feel fear. As long as I can be strong enough to silence everyone who stands out to criticize me, and as time passes, no one will say that I'm wrong. Then, I will be right, I will be the truth, I will be the law, I will be the king. Ka-cha. As Tsing Hui's conviction became firm, something in his heart seemed to shatter. All the shackles and restraints in his mind collapsed with a loud bang. His spirit seemed to have completed a transformation at this moment. It was a transformation that had completely integrated into this world. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. In the struggle for the great Tao, there is only death. This path is destined to be full of competition, destined to be full of killing. It is destined that only a few people can climb to the peak by stepping on the corpses of countless competitors. If I follow the morals in my heart and be bound by the benevolence and righteousness in my heart, it is equivalent to binding my own hands and feet to walk on this path of death. Then, what can I use to compete with others? What right do I have to climb to the peak, overlook the world, and do whatever I want to do? Xing Hui slowly stood up. His aura changed at this moment, and his mental state gradually sublimated. Break the shackles in your heart. Break all the shackles. He wanted to return to Earth and reunite with his family, friends, and senior sisters. He also wanted to reach the peak and see the scenery at the peak of the cultivation path. If this path was destined to be full of thorns and obstacles, then, let him give up everything and wield the sword, kill your way out. I don't need anyone to judge whether I'm right or wrong. I only need to be worthy of myself. Those who don't follow, speak with my sword. Rumble. The moment Xing Hui completed his spiritual transformation, a brand new sword intent erupted from his spiritual world. Brilliant and blazing. Majestic and mighty. Immeasurable power. At this moment, the conviction contained in the sword intent was no longer pure and indomitable. On this foundation, there was a kind of sharpness and dominance. Wherever the sword pointed, all who stood in its way would die. With this conviction, a flash of inspiration appeared in Xing Hui's mind. In an instant, countless inspirations burst out from his mind and filled his spiritual world. Divine ability. My divine ability. Buzz. The Scarlet Abyss sword shook violently. The golden core that had fused with the Scarlet Abyss sword seemed to have turned into a scorching sun and exploded with a bang. Endless light and heat exploded from the Scarlet Abyss sword and completely engulfed the entire Scarlet Abyss sword. The resplendent brilliance pierced through the Burial Sword Peak's protective array and went straight into the clouds, shocking the entire Hidden Sword sect. In an instant, countless elders, deacons, and disciples of the Hidden Sword sect rushed out of their secluded cultivation and looked at the sword light that went straight into the clouds in the direction of the Burial Sword Peak with faces full of shock. It's Grand Elder Xing Hui. That's Grand Elder Xing Hui's aura. What is Grand Elder Xing Hui doing? The Burial Sword Peak's protective array is in an active state. Although this protective array is a killing array and does not have the ability to distort space and form a sealed battlefield, it has an astonishing effect on the obstruction of the world's origin energy. This circle of sword light can actually break through the protective array and go straight into the clouds. This is simply divine ability. Divine ability. I feel a trace of divine ability's aura in there. Furthermore, it's not an ordinary divine ability. Could it be that Grand Elder Xing Hui has already deduced several lesser divine abilities in such a short period of time and is now using those lesser divine abilities to complete his main divine ability so that his main divine ability will have an astonishing power that is not inferior to a great divine ability? Hidden Sword Sect's acting sect master Xiao Luiying, Hidden Sword Venerable's second disciple Duan Jianfeng, Iron Jade Peak's peak master Zhou Cunyu, and a group of people from the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce all looked at the sword light on the Burial Sword Peak in shock and were unable to recover for a long time. At the core of the Burial Sword Peak, Xing Hui's transformed sword intent had already completely fused with the Scarlet Abyss sword intent and the perfect sovereign golden core. The three resonated with each other and constantly reflected each other, faintly producing a peculiar change. This change was led by Xing Hui's transformed sword intent, assisted by the Scarlet Abyss sword intent, and supported by the perfect sovereign golden core, causing the three to almost fuse into one and become indistinguishable from each other. It was like a budding seed that was suddenly injected with a strong vitality, completely evolving and breaking out of the ground at this moment. Divine ability. My divine ability. Xing Hui quietly felt the little changes of the sovereign golden core as it broke out of its cocoon and became a butterfly. Divine ability. Every cultivator's divine ability was different. Even if two people cultivated the same cultivation method and used the same resources and experiences on the path of cultivation, the divine ability that was derived from them could be completely different due to the different thoughts, beliefs, and understandings of the two. Thus, two completely different divine abilities were derived. The evolution of Tsing Hui's divine ability this time was guided by the jump of his spirit and the vibration of his sword intent. The evolution of the divine ability was completely led by his own sword intent. In addition, his foundation was in the Scarlet Abyss sword. When he finally broke through the core and became a god, the derived divine ability was perfectly injected into the Scarlet Abyss sword and the transformed sword intent. After this transformation was completed, his divine ability actually didn't really condense into a real entity, nor did it transform into a powerful and peerless killing move. Instead, it transformed into a peculiar state. A state of aurora that could be obtained when his sword intent and the power of his natal divine sword were stimulated to the extreme. So, this is my divine ability. Tsing Hui carefully felt the various changes that were formed after the perfect golden core and frowned slightly. When the sword intent is stimulated to the extreme, it can activate the divine ability. After the divine ability is activated, its speed will be significantly increased. This is a bit similar to the rainbow transformation technique. However, the rainbow transformation art is purely about speed. My divine ability, on the other hand, perfectly fuses speed and attack together, using terrifying speed to form an attack. Compared to the rainbow transformation art, it has many more variations and can be controlled. Tsing Hui carefully felt it. However, the true power of the divine ability could only be known after using it. Whoosh! In the next moment, Tsing Hui's figure had already turned into sword light and shot straight into the clouds. In an instant, he tore through the clouds and disappeared from the hidden sword sect. So fast. So fast. Oh my god, I actually couldn't react in time. Is it because of the 12th order flying sword? But I don't think I saw Grand Elder Tsing Hui fly on his sword. He relied on his own speed to reach a level not inferior to a 12th order flying sword. The moment Tsing Hui shot out from the burial sword peak, countless golden core experts in the hidden sword sect exclaimed at the same time. However, Tsing Hui did not know about this. His mind was immersed in the changes of the divine ability that had just been derived. He did not even notice that he was not flying on his sword at this moment, but he had erupted with a terrifying speed that was not inferior to a 12th order flying sword. Multitasking, he quickly appeared in an uninhabited mountain thousands of kilometers away from the hidden sword sect. Let me see what kind of changes the activation of the divine ability will bring about. Tsing Hui took a deep breath. Rumble. The sword intent in his spiritual world brazenly exploded like a scorching sun. Endless brilliance mixed with blazing sword intent was used with a loud bang, completely pouring into the deep scarlet sword in his hand that had been remodeled and contained an even stronger power. With the guidance of the sword intent, the deep scarlet sword was activated. His sword intent and the deep scarlet sword were completely integrated into one, causing the surrounding world to become slightly slower. It was not actually slow. Instead, his mind was slow. To put it bluntly, his mind had become faster, so much so that when he looked at the outside world, he instinctively felt that everything in the outside world had become even slower. This is my divine ability. Tsing Hui's eyes widened slightly. In the next moment, the sword intent was activated, and man and sword became one. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a flying sword, instantly shooting out explosively. Whoosh! Space was torn apart. The moment he shot out with all his strength, he could even clearly see circles of ripples spreading out in all directions with him as the center. That was the trajectory formed after tearing apart the vacuum at an extremely fast speed, just like how a boat would create ripples on the surface of a lake when moving on the surface of the lake. At this moment, he was able to create the same effect in the void. Too fast. Too fast. Tsing Hui's eyes shone with a bright light. This speed was not just a simple flight speed, but an increase in all aspects. Attack speed, static vision, motion capture, nerve reaction, true chi flow circulation. The moment the divine ability was activated, it was as if he had been added with a speed change gear, directly escaping from a low-speed world into a high-speed world. That feeling was speechless. Chapter 585. Phew! As the burst of sword essence came to an end, Xinghui panted slightly and exited that wonderful state. This is my divine sense. Sure enough, the derivation of divine sense is closely related to the cultivation method and experience of the cultivator. I can find traces of the rainbow transformation technique, the torch dragon talent, the golden crow talent, and other means in this divine sense. In addition, the most pressing thing in my will is time. First, it was the 10-year deadline. Now that the 10-year deadline has passed, the urgency of time is constantly forcing me. Time can also derive speed, which then formed this strange divine sense that allows me to escape into a high-speed world. Xinghui's mind was filled with thoughts. Perhaps it was due to the ultimate sword Dao, but his divine ability had changed quite a bit compared to the conventional divine ability. Other divine senses were basically calculated by how many times they were used, but his divine sense was calculated by how long it could last. The divine sense could last as long as the burst of sword essence could last. Moreover, he could sense that the more violent the burst of sword essence was, the more powerful the divine sense would be, and the more significant the acceleration effect would be. Speed often represented attack. A static arrow could not hurt anyone, but when it was shot out, it could take away a life. Moreover, the faster it was shot out, the more lethal it would be. Just like Xinghui's divine sense, when his speed was increased, his attack would also become fiercer. However, correspondingly, the load on his body would also increase. Looks like I have to find some time to train my physique. Otherwise, if my body can't withstand the air pressure when I move at high speed and the various recoil effects when I slash out with my sword, it will be too late for regrets if I end up losing 800 of my own men every time I pass through. Xinghui thought to himself. He had decided to cultivate the body forging technique that he had obtained from Shinchong in the map of the War of Chaos. Although the body forging technique was not very advanced, it could allow him to cultivate to the 9 changes realm, which meant that his physical strength was equivalent to the level of an expert in the endless realm. Although a cultivator's vital qi and vital essence had the effect of nourishing the body, most people's physical strength was almost a realm lower than their own. Take Xinghui for example. Although he had a good foundation and his physical body had broken through many limits, in terms of physical strength, he was at most on par with an expert in the green netherworld realm. At least, he could not use his physical body to resist the power of the battle body. I wonder what level my divine sense is at. Is it a great divine sense or a supreme divine sense? In terms of power, it's not something a great divine sense can compare to. The attack amplification effect brought by speed and acceleration can definitely increase my combat strength by several times. This is definitely not something a great divine sense can bring. However, perhaps because I've changed to the ultimate sword principle, my divine sense has also changed. It actually relies on the time and strength of the explosion of sword intent to maintain the duration of the divine sense. As Xinghui flew toward the hidden sword sect, he was deep in thought. However, after a while, he had already sensed something and suddenly stopped in the void. I didn't use the sky splitter sword. Xinghui glanced below him. In the next moment, divine light condensed and his body shot out like a sword. Swoosh! The clouds were torn apart. The atmosphere was cut. Xinghui's body directly drew a ditch in the sky and flew dozens of kilometers in an instant. My flying speed has been enhanced by a lot. After testing this result, Xinghui waved his right hand and the Scarlet Abyss sword, which was entrenched in energy in his body, suddenly shot out and appeared in the palm of his hand. Mysterious light flowed and turned into a divine sword. Then, a sword technique was quickly displayed in his hand: flying stab, swift slash, horizontal sweep, flat slice, counterattack, force slash, fast. 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 Faster than the limit. Unbelievably fast. Unbelievably fast. After a while, the Scarlet Abyss sword turned into a stream of light again and hid in Tsing Hui's body. This divine ability has increased my speed by a huge margin. Furthermore, it's not an increase when the divine ability is activated. Instead, it's a constant increase. It can even be said that it's a modification. It has improved my nerves, vision, zhenqi, and other aspects, and I've gained a new understanding of the word speed. This discovery made Tsing Hui no longer have any doubts about the position of his divine sense. A supreme divine sense. It was definitely a supreme divine sense. Other than a supreme divine sense, he could not imagine what other means could produce such a solidified increase. The increase in my reaction, the increase in my vision, the increase in the speed at which my vital qi circulates, all these effects have gathered together, causing me to be much stronger than before even when I'm not in the state of activating my divine ability. I reckon that there will be hardly anyone in the divine ability realm who will be able to stand against me. Even if I'm unable to block the divine ability of my enemy, I can rely on my extremely sharp reaction to detect it beforehand and dodge it. If I were to face Dharma King Eccentric again, I don't need to directly tear apart his divine ability of mirage. I can rely on the speed at which my body changes to surpass the speed at which he distorts space. Although Dharma King Eccentric's mirage divine sense was strong, the range of space it could distort was limited. He could completely avoid it in advance. Swish! Sword light broke through the air, and Tsing Hui directly landed on the Hidden Sword Peak, the main peak of the Hidden Sword sect. Seeing Tsing Hui's arrival, the upper echelons of the Hidden Sword Peak, who were still discussing the change of the Hidden Sword Peak, all rushed out. Greetings, Grand Elder. Greetings, Grand Elder Tsing Hui. Grand Elder, your aura seems to have faintly changed. Did you have a breakthrough in your cultivation? Tsing Hui did not explain too much to these people. He only instructed Xiao Luiying, gather all the golden core cultivators of the Hidden Sword sect who are not in seclusion. I need to conduct an experiment. Xiao Luiying was startled, but still agreed without hesitation. Yes, Grand Elder, please wait a moment. I will go gather them now. As soon as possible, go to the sword appraising platform. I will wait for you there. After saying that, Tsing Hui rose on his sword again and was about to land on the sword appraising platform. However, after a moment, he seemed to have thought of something. The sword appraising platform is not suitable. Go to the Misty Cloud Mountain, which is 1,400 kilometers away from the sect. Yes. Tsing Hui nodded and headed in the direction of the Misty Cloud Mountain. Xiao Luiying and the others naturally did not dare to let Tsing Hui wait for too long. Less than an hour after Tsing Hui arrived at the Misty Cloud Mountain, there were already dozens of golden core cultivators flying over. After waiting for a while, the number of golden core elders and peak masters who arrived at the Misty Cloud Mountain had already reached 50. This was also a nameless mountain within the Hidden Sword sect. It was rare to see people here. Usually, some golden core cultivators would come here to try out some secret techniques. Grand Elder, almost everyone has arrived. The rest are either unable to make it back in time or are tied up by other matters and have no time to be distracted. Xiao Luiying was a little ashamed. 50, that's about it. Qing Su glanced past the golden core elders one by one and nodded slightly. Very good. I've called you over to cooperate with an experiment of mine. Now, the 50 of you will form the strongest battle formation and attack me with your full strength. 50 of us will form the strongest offensive formation. Xiao Luiying was slightly stunned. Then, he asked again with uncertainty. Grand Elder, you want us to form a formation to attack you? The 50 of us can form the strongest constellation formation in the sect. This is a pure offensive formation. If we fight head-on, it won't be any weaker than an almighty. Very good. Let's use this formation. Come on. Tsing Hui said. Xiao Luiying and the others looked at each other and hesitated for a moment. In the end, they decided to trust Xing Hui and said, "Then Grand Elder, you have to be careful. We'll attack now." As he said that, he had already waved his hand. Immediately, several dozen golden core cultivators rapidly gathered into a formation, surrounding Qing Su in the center. "Grand Elder, be careful. Our attack is coming. Let's do it," Xing Hui said calmly. Xiao Luiying didn't hesitate anymore. Following his lead, the 50 golden core cultivators attacked at the same time. In an instant, a powerful energy wave filled the void. It almost sealed the space within a few hundred meters around Xing Hui, leaving no traces behind. Xing Hui looked up and focused his gaze. With the improvement of his vision and reaction speed, he could clearly see the attack trajectories of the 50 golden core cultivators. In the next moment, he had already made the most accurate response. In an instant, even though the attacks of the golden core cultivators were like a storm, Xing Hui, who was in the middle of this force, was constantly flashing and dodging the attacks easily. This, Xiao Luiying, who was leading the attack, looked at Xing Hui, who was casually dodging the attacks of the 50 golden core cultivators. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. He can actually dodge to such an extent. This is your attack. I haven't even fought back yet, but your attacks can't even withstand the corner of my clothes. If I really let you fight against an almighty, how are you going to defend against it? Xing Hui's voice suddenly came from the storm-like attacks. In an instant, Xiao Luiying and the others couldn't help but grit their teeth. Be careful, Grand Elder. We are about to use the power of the Golden Core. Come. Sect Leader, are we really going to use the power of the Golden Core? Using the power of the Golden Core is equivalent to using all of your strength in a battle of life and death. I think. A Golden Core cultivator at the side was a little shocked. Can't all of you see? The Supreme Elder wants to use us to test his limits. Yet now, all of us 50 Golden Core Stage Elders and Peak Masters are attacking together, yet we don't even have the ability to make the Supreme Elder feel danger. How can this be called an experiment? Attack with all you've got. Xiao Luiying roared and unleashed the power of the Golden Core. A sword light that was several times stronger than before tore through the void, like a giant hand that was about to split the earth, and slashed towards Xing Hui. The other Golden Core cultivators and Peak Masters saw that Xiao Luiying had really unleashed the power of the Golden Core. In addition to Xing Hui's urging, they had no choice but to follow suit and unleash their attacks. In an instant, streams of light that were much stronger than before tore through the sky, almost drowning the void where Xing Hui was. Is this all you can do? Xing Hui's figure flashed and shuttled through the torrent of energy at an unbelievable speed. It was as if he was a surfer walking in the heart of the storm. No matter how violent and ferocious the waves in front of him were, he was always able to turn the danger into safety. This scene fell into the eyes of Xiao Luiying and the other Golden Core cultivators of the Hidden Sword sect, and they immediately widened their eyes in shock. Almighties, are actually this strong? It's not the Almighties who are this strong, it's Grand Elder. I've seen the power of Almighties with my own eyes. Although they are said to be invincible, when faced with a battle formation formed by tens or hundreds of Golden Core cultivators, they could only dodge and defeat them one by one. There's no one like Grand Elder who can ignore us 50 Golden Core cultivators like we're nothing. Grand Elder actually has this kind of power. I wonder if he or our Hidden Sword sect's venerable Hidden Sword is stronger. Many of the elders were shocked, and they looked at Xing Hui with even more respect. What you hear is false, but what you see is true. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they would never understand the power of Grand Elder Xing Hui, whom Venerable Hidden Sword sect had invited to look after their sect. Chapter 586. Let's try again. Attack with all your might within a 1,000-meter radius with me as the center. I'll intercept your attacks within this 1,000-meter radius. Xing Hui said slowly after easily dodging the attacks of the 50 Golden Core powerhouses. Intercept. Xiao Suiying almost thought that he had misheard. Intercepting and dodging were two completely different things. Just like facing an arrow, dodging it was obviously much easier than shooting it down. However, the ability that Xing Hui had just displayed had already deeply shocked them. Even though they felt that Xing Hui's command was unbelievable, they still slowly entered the main topic after being shocked for a moment. Suddenly, the 50 golden core powerhouses attacked again. Streaks of flowing light whizzed and covered the 1,000-meter radius with Xing Hui as the center. Almost as soon as the attacks of the golden core elders were about to enter the 1,000-meter radius, a violent explosion suddenly sounded. Within this area, Xing Hui seemed to have transformed into thousands of shadows in an instant. He constantly flashed and shuttled through every corner of the 50 golden core powerhouses' attacks. Any attack of the golden core elders that entered this area was either cut down by the sword chi or destroyed from afar. Not a single attack missed. Rumble. The violent explosion kept echoing in the void. When the attacks of the 50 golden core powerhouses stopped, everyone was stunned on the spot. For a moment, they actually did not have time to launch a second wave of attacks. Obviously, they were already stunned by the scene in front of them. It's about time. It's still a little difficult to block the attacks of 50 golden core elders. However, if it's just dodging, it's much easier. I reckon that with my current speed and reaction, forcefully charging into a formation formed by 100 golden core powerhouses is a piece of cake. Xing Hui already had an accurate understanding of his own abilities. Previously, before he had developed his divine ability, he had to be careful when facing a formation formed by a few dozen people. He had to rely on the speed of the sky splitter to circle around the formation continuously. When there was a slight delay in the formation, he would immediately charge into it and charge back and forth, killing and capturing some golden core powerhouses before retreating far away. He did not dare to face them head-on. However, now, destroying a formation of 100 people head-on was no longer an extravagant hope for him. This divine ability has greatly increased my speed, and, it's an overall increase. When I use this divine ability, I'll be as fast as lightning and chase after light. Then, I'll call it Light Pursuit. After naming it, Xing Hui's face slightly lifted up his head. At this moment, he could be called a true powerful being. He truly had the right to show off in the infinite barren world. Unfortunately, I've yet to come into contact with an invincible existence at the Saint Realm. I'll only be able to determine if I'm a threat to the Saint Realm after I fight one. However, I can be sure that as long as I don't fall into the domain of an invincible expert at the Saint Realm, I'll be able to retreat easily even if such an invincible expert wants to kill me. Xing Hui's heart. All this while, the pressure brought about by the Lihan Holy Man and the Qingwei Holy Man finally dissipated a lot at this moment. Supreme Elder. Xiao Luiying looked at Qing Su, who seemed to be in deep thought, and asked for instructions cautiously. Qing Su glanced at Xiao Luiying before looking at the dumbfounded golden core elders of the Hidden Sword sect. He said, "All right, that's all. Thank you for your trouble. You may return." Only when the golden core elders heard Qing Su's words did they all return to their senses. They said in a hurry, "It's no trouble at all. It's our honor to be able to serve the great elder." Yes, Supreme Elder, if you need anything in the future, feel free to instruct us. Since Supreme Elder has instructed us, we will naturally obey and do our best to carry it out. We will not disobey. The elders and peak masters were all in awe and respect. Some of them looked at Xing Hui with a trace of fear in their eyes. They were really frightened by the terrifying power that Xing Hui had just displayed. If such a powerful being who could disregard the attacks of 50 Aurus Core stage cultivators really wanted to kill them, how could they resist? They had no choice but to die. Very quickly, the group returned to the Hidden Sword sect. When they arrived at the Hidden Sword sect, the Golden Core elders and peak masters quickly spread the news of what had just happened throughout the entire Hidden Sword sect. This news caused the entire Hidden Sword sect to become even more excited and united. At the same time, it also caused the atmosphere within the sect to change once again. All the demons and monsters disappeared without a trace, and the entire Hidden Sword sect welcomed an unprecedented rule of the universe. When the Hidden Sword Swordmaster returns, I should go to the infinite barren lands. In the past, I might not have been able to help much in the battle between Tianxiong and the Heavenly Axiom, but now. Xinghui thought that as long as he did not meet an invincible divine stage cultivator, he would be able to suppress even a peak avatar of heaven and earth stage cultivator. After all, the strength of an avatar of heaven and earth stage cultivator lay in the multifold increase in attack and defense when they entered the avatar of heaven and earth state. Once Xinghui used the lightning tactic, relying on the power of the supreme light chaser, he would not give the avatar of heaven and earth stage cultivators any time to enter the avatar of heaven and earth state. They were only slightly stronger divine stage cultivators, and Xinghui in the light chaser state could take on 10 of them. In fact, even if a peak avatar of heaven and earth stage cultivator could not suppress his light chaser state, he would only know after the battle. Once I reach the divine stage, I will enter the avatar of heaven and earth. The avatar of heaven and earth requires an understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. Only by fully comprehending the laws of heaven and earth can one be supported by the power of the laws of heaven and earth, thereby increasing one's attack power. The laws of heaven and earth. Xinghui glanced at his character model. His attack level had increased by a large margin, reaching level 119, nearing the level of the avatar of heaven and earth. However, because the attack model did not show the increase in the divine stage, this value was not worth considering. As for his defense level, it had dropped tremendously. Once an attack hit its target, even a golden core stage cultivator would be able to inflict fatal damage on him. The only thing that he was somewhat thankful for was his spiritual level. His spiritual level had actually reached an astonishing level 125, an increase of 6 levels. Xinghui guessed that this had to do with him severing the fetters of morality and facing the good and evil in his heart. After looking at it for a while, Xinghui withdrew his gaze from the Chaos Temple. What he needed to do next was to do all he could to unearth all the mysteries of the Supreme Light Chaser. Speed could bring about attacks, but the burden on the body was also extremely great. Xinghui had already vaguely felt that because his spiritual level was still low, the duration of the Light Chaser state was limited, and the burden on his body had not yet shown. However, as his spiritual level continued to increase, the explosive effect of the Light Chaser would become more and more obvious. There would come a day when his body would not be able to bear the explosive effect of the Light Chaser and become a shackle that prevented the further advancement of this divine stage. Thinking of this, Xinghui had already taken out the body refining technique that he had traded with Shen Chong in the battlefield of the Chaos Temple, the 9 transformations of the real dragon. Although the 9 transformations of the real dragon had the 2 words real dragon in it, it could not be truly cultivated to the level of the real dragon stage where the physical body could contend against a golden core stage cultivator. The limit of cultivation was only comparable to a never-ending stage cultivator, but even so, it could still be considered terrifying. Xinghui's gaze swept across the 9 transformations of the real dragon one by one, and he quickly understood the mystery of the first transformation. With a strong physical foundation, Xinghui had already completed the cultivation of the first transformation of the 9 transformations of the real dragon in just a few breaths. Accompanied by a slight sound from his body, the speed of the qi and blood circulating throughout his body had obviously increased by a notch compared to before. It's true that the strength of my body has already reached the level of the green hell stage, which is the 5th transformation of the 9 transformations of the real dragon. Logically speaking, the cultivation of the first transformation would not have any effect on my body, but in fact, the 9 transformations of the real dragon strengthen the function of the bone marrow to produce blood and the heart to circulate blood through the condensation of blood, causing the speed of my qi and blood to surge faster, and thus slightly increasing the strength of my body. Xinghui looked at it for a moment, and his gaze quickly turned to the second transformation of the 9 Transformations of the Real Dragon. In fact, the cultivation system of this world also had the refinement and accumulation of the physical body, which was the 6 stages of the mortal realm: foundation establishment, bone tempering, tendons transformation, marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood transformation. However, these 6 stages only dug out the potential of a human to the limit. Usually, it was enough for the cultivator's body to be able to withstand the power of a divine beast's soul. There was no need to dig deeper, let alone consume the blood of powerful spiritual beasts, sacred beasts, or even divine beasts to strengthen one's body. However, the cultivation method of the 9 transformations of the real dragon was different. All of his cultivation was based on the person. He did his best to dig out the potential energy in the human body, and supplemented it with some treasures of the world to expand the limits of the human body's potential. Especially when it came to the real dragon realm, this stage could allow a person to undergo a complete transformation, forming a leap in the essence of life. Once it was cultivated, the strength of one's battle prowess would surpass that of an ordinary golden elixir stage expert. Unfortunately, Tsing Hui did not have the cultivation method of the real dragon realm in his hands. It's a pity that every time the War of Chaos starts, the battlefield is different, and the cultivation system of the world is even more strange. If I want to go to the world with the cultivation system of the 9 transformations of the real dragon again, it all depends on luck. If I have the chance to go to that world again, I may have the opportunity to obtain the cultivation method of the 9 transformations of the real dragon and break through to the real dragon realm, the holy dragon realm, or even the highest realm, the divine dragon realm. Tsing Hui thought to himself, and divided his spirit to take a look at the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. He really wanted to buy a token of the world of battle. On the one hand, when he encountered a life-and-death crisis, he could use the token of the world of battle to drag the enemy into the battlefield of the War of Chaos, and then use his higher level of chaos to reverse the situation and turn defeat into victory. On the other hand, he could use the token of the world of battle to explore other worlds and see if he could obtain the cultivation system of other worlds to improve himself. Unfortunately, the last refresh of the Chaos Treasure Pavilion was not long ago, and there were still no new items. It's not advisable to rely on the Chaos Treasure Pavilion to update the token of the world of battle. Then, I'll buy one. The token of the world of battle is not a particularly popular item. If I offer a higher price, it's not difficult to buy one. Moreover, this kind of transaction is good for Qianxiong. I can also consider selling the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing to a powerful junior of Qianxiong. Tsing Hui did not sell the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing to Qianxiong. On the one hand, he did not want to aggravate the conflict between Qianxiong and the Way of Heaven. On the other hand, he was worried that he would not be able to sell it at a good price. But now, Qianxiong and the Way of Heaven had almost completely fallen out with each other, and it did not matter whether the conflict intensified or not. Anyway, even if he did not sell the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing, Holy Master Qingwei would not let him and Qianxiong go. In this case, why not use this Chaos Incantation of level 29 to slightly increase the strength of Qianxiong? Chapter 587. Sky Dome Realm. Tsing Hui's figure flashed, and he directly arrived at the book creation hall where Zhongzhen was. Due to Venerable Master Zhuzhao's heavy injuries, almost all of Heaven's Dome's affairs had fallen on Venerable Master Firmament's shoulders. Qing Su did not want to trouble Venerable Master Firmament for the matter of selling the cultivation method. It just so happened that Venerable Master Zhongzhen was in charge of the affairs of the scripture hall, so he knew the core members of Heaven's Dome quite well. Mr. Pak Hui. Seeing Tsing Hui arrive, Yuling, who was at the entrance of the book creation hall, quickly stood up and greeted him cautiously. After becoming a member of the council, Tsing Hui's status could not be compared to before. She could no longer be as casual as before. Is the Exalted Master here? Ah. The Exalted Master is currently in charge of both the Foreign Affairs Hall and the Book Creation Hall. He is currently in the Foreign Affairs Hall, and the one in charge of the book creation hall is his assistant. The Foreign Affairs Hall. Tsing Hui nodded and was about to turn around and leave. However, just as Tsing Hui was about to leave, Yuling seemed to have thought of something. After hesitating for a moment, she asked Tsing Hui, "Sir Pak Hui, is our Sky Dome realm in a very dangerous situation right now?" Situation. Tsing Hui looked at Yuling. He could clearly feel the worry in this woman's heart. Even someone like Yuling, who was always by Zhongjin's side, was worried about the future of Sky Dome. It could be seen what the others were thinking. "Don't worry, all dangers will pass. The Vault of Heaven is indeed in a bit of trouble at the moment, but I believe that this kind of trouble will vanish in a short time. The Vault of Heaven has been established for more than 1,000 years. What kind of storms and waves has it not experienced? Since they have been safe and sound for more than 1,000 years, then I believe that even if another 1,000 years, 3,000 years, or even 10,000 years pass, they will still be able to continue to exist." Hearing Tsing Hui's words, Yuling nodded vigorously. "I believe in Sir Pak Hui. Don't think too much. Just help Zhongjin Exalted Master with the matters of the Book Creation Hall." Tsing Hui said and took a step forward. In the next moment, he had already disappeared in front of the Book Creation Hall. As the surrounding space shuttled, he was already outside the External Affairs Hall when he reappeared. As the name suggested, the External Affairs Hall was responsible for the external affairs of the firmament continent. The establishment of the Vault of Heaven naturally required many contacts with the outside world, and with contacts, it was easy for conflicts to arise. The External Affairs Hall was responsible for coordinating conflicts with other forces. This palace needed a powerful force to guard it. In the past, esteemed Zhu Zhao was in charge of this palace. Whenever there was a dispute between the Heaven Dome sect and some large sects, esteemed Zhu Zhao only needed to show up, and those large sects naturally had to step aside obediently. Even some top forces didn't dare to confront esteemed Zhu Zhao if they didn't have the absolute right to do so. The name and deterrence of an ultimate master was not something that an ordinary Saint Realm expert could compare with. However, as esteemed Zhu Zhao was seriously injured and went into seclusion to recuperate, the Firmament Exalted Master had to coordinate the overall situation. The affairs of the External Affairs Hall naturally fell to esteemed Zhongjin Exalted Master, who had reached the peak of the Saint Realm. Although esteemed Zhongjin Exalted Master was in charge of the External Affairs Hall, the deterrence of a peak celestial phenomenon expert was far from being comparable to that of esteemed Zhu Zhao. As a result, the firmament continent had encountered all kinds of troubles in a short period of time. This could be seen from the bustling passers-by coming and going in the External Affairs Hall. The atmosphere in the firmament continent is obviously not peaceful. No wonder Yuling would ask such a worried question. Tsing Hui looked at the many members of the firmament continent who were in a hurry and deeply realized the importance of strength to a large organization. After a moment of silence, Tsing Hui finally stepped into the External Affairs Hall. At this time, outside the External Affairs Hall, there were 3 Golden Core Realm cultivators and 2 Almighties who had cultivated divine powers waiting there. The door of esteemed Zhongjin Exalted Master's office was tightly shut. It was obvious that esteemed Zhongjin Exalted Master was busy with something inside. Tsing Hui did not recognize the 3 Golden Core Realm cultivators, but there were 2 Almighties. One was Bai Qi, the other was esteemed Zhu Zhao, and the other was Yulan, a Almighty-level disciple who had cultivated divine powers. Seeing Tsing Hui arrive, Bai Qi did not say anything. Yulan raised her tired face and looked at Tsing Hui. In the end, she nodded slightly and greeted him. No matter what, Tsing Hui was someone who had almost become an illuminated disciple and was also her junior brother. She still had to greet him. Thud thud. Ching Su waited outside for less than a while before a series of hurried footsteps rang out from outside. Afterwards, Daoist Wu Fa, who was also a powerful figure, walked in hurriedly with a sliver of anger. When he saw Bai Qi, Yulan, and so on waiting outside, he was slightly surprised at first before immediately saying, Bai Qi, Yulan, are you busy right now? If you're not, why don't you come with me? The people of the Divine Ghost sect have gone too far. Not only did they take away the clear jade spring that originally belonged to our firmament continent, they even injured my personal disciples. 3 of our Golden Core Realm Outer Circle members were also killed. If we don't teach them a lesson, the world will think that we are afraid of the Divine Ghost sect. The Divine Ghost sect actually took our clear jade spring. Do they want to start an all-out war with us? Bai Qi said with a hint of anger on his face. Still. Could it be? Bai Qi suppressed his anger and nodded. The red bamboo forest was also taken by them. The red bamboo forest. The red bamboo core produced in the red bamboo forest is a treasure that can dissolve the impurities in qi. Its value is not much lower than the clear jade spring. The Divine Ghost sect really has guts. Yulan frowned and said, I remember that the Divine Ghost sect has no connection with the Heavenly Tao. Why did the Heavenly Tao attack our firmament continent, and the Divine Ghost sect also interfere? The Divine Ghost sect has no connection with the Heavenly Tao, but they are one of the powers that are extremely close to the Divine Wilderness. Half a month ago, the Divine Wilderness Thunder God King came to our firmament continent, wanting to pull us into their Divine Wilderness. In the end, they were rejected by the firmament continent's people. Who would have thought that they would be so despicable, allowing the Divine Ghost sect to attack our firmament continent? Don't you know what the people of the Divine Wilderness are like? They are simply a group of cowards that only know how to fight among themselves. It is said that 10,000 years ago, they once fought against the Heavenly Tao and the Eternal Immortal Emperor while he was down. If not for the Divine Wilderness dragging them down, how could the Immortal Emperor have been defeated so quickly, to the point that he had no choice but to destroy the Divine Wilderness world, destroying the world where the transmission array was located, and even the void, cutting off the Heavenly Tao and the Eternal Immortal Emperor's path of invasion? Wu Fei Jinren sneered. Bai Qi and Yulan did not know much about this matter, so it was not good for them to speak too much. After all, in the battle 10,000 years ago, other than a few existences that barely managed to survive, no one knew the inside story. The survivors said that the Divine Wilderness had kicked the Immortal Emperor while he was down, causing the Immortal Emperor's army to be completely annihilated. The Divine Wilderness people accused the Immortal Emperor of destroying the Divine Wilderness world, and their sins were monstrous. If not for them gathering the remaining experts of the Divine Wilderness world and establishing the Divine Wilderness, the cultivation inheritance of the Divine Wilderness world would have been severed. They were the true inheritors of the Divine Wilderness world. Both sides had their own opinions. But no matter what, compared to those cultivators who relied on the Heavenly Tao and the Eternal for their so-called future, the Divine Wilderness was much better. At least they had a common enemy. It was just that they did not expect that the Divine Wilderness would do such a thing to make their enemies happy. They wanted to use this to force the Heavenly Tao to submit. The people of the Divine Wilderness hoped to swallow us, the Primal Chaos organizations, so as to achieve their goal of controlling the Primal Chaos Temple and dominating the Divine Wilderness world. If they could really bring out their courage to wage war against the Heavenly Tao and the Eternal, I believe that there would be many who would respond. Unfortunately, they do not dare. They are afraid of death. Even when they clearly had the advantage back then, they did not completely defeat the Heavenly Tao and the Eternal, and could only watch as they continued to grow. Now, the Heavenly Tao, relying on a rumor without any evidence, has faintly surpassed the Divine Wilderness and become the largest Primal Chaos organization in the Divine Wilderness world. There's no use in saying this now. We should discuss how to deal with the matter of the Red Bamboo Forest and Hunyuan. If I'm not wrong, the Divine Ghost sect is probably just a chess piece that the Divine Wilderness is using to test our Heavenly Tao. If our Heavenly Tao does not give a strong response, they will definitely take a mile after taking an inch. The problem is that our Heavenly Tao does not have enough strength to deal with the encroachment of the Divine Ghost sect. We can only look at the esteemed Master Cangzhen. Let's see if he can reasonably transfer people to let us take back the red bamboo forest and Hunyuan that we have lost. I am currently in a nameless valley 300 kilometers away from Hunyuan. The Divine Ghost Sect has sent 3 almighty beings and over 100 Jindan experts outside. They can find my location at any time. Whether to fight or to retreat, I have to quickly get an accurate response from the esteemed Master Tsangzhen. Otherwise, if the people of the Divine Ghost Sect find me and surround me, I'm afraid it will be even more dangerous. Wu Fa Jinren frowned. Then you go first. Although the red bamboo forest has been occupied, the red bamboo heart still needs some time to mature. Furthermore, the Divine Ghost Sect is only probing. They do not dare to truly start a war with us. Bai Qi said. N. Wu Fa Jinren nodded. Then, his gaze fell on Tsing Hui. Considering Tsing Hui's Battle of Chaos sequence, he politely nodded and greeted him. Pak Hui, why are you looking for the esteemed Master Tsangzhen? Tsing Hui looked at Wu Fa Jinren, Bai Qi, and the others. They were all facing big problems, and he did not want to trouble the esteemed Master Tsangzhen with the chaos method. Fortunately, Wu Fa Jinren, Bai Qi, Yulan, and the others were also core members of the Heavenly Tao, and the nature of the conversation was similar. He immediately said, not long ago, I killed the Black Ice Saint. Before he died, I interrogated him about his chaos level, which was 29. I want to see if anyone in the Heavenly Tao needs to take over. Tsing Hui's tone was calm, as if he was not talking about a big matter. However, when Wu Fa Jinren, Bai Qi, Yulan, and the others heard this, they were all shocked. The Black Ice Saint. You killed the Black Ice Saint. How is that possible? The Black Ice Saint is an almighty. You are only in the true energy realm. And you are in the transformative realm. How could you kill him? The 3 of them asked almost at the same time. Tsing Hui had cultivated the supreme immortal technique, shadowless stance. His aura had become even more obscure, so even though he had broken through to the divine realm, he did not show it in the Chaos Temple at all. In fact, even in the real world, Wu Fa Jinren and the others could not see Tsing Hui's specific realm if they did not look carefully, let alone in the Chaos Temple. If Tsing Hui had cultivated shadowless stance to the small success level, even the invincible giants in the divine realm would not be able to see through him, let alone them. Chapter 588. Reverend Wufa, Bai Qi, and Yulan all looked at Qing Su in surprise. Among them, Bai Qi looked at him like he was looking at an immature young man who liked to joke around and did not know how to be serious. After all, as far as they knew, Tsing Hui was less than 40 years old. In the eyes of these cultivators, who were at least 300 years old, he was completely young and childish. It's not impossible to kill Holy Master Xianbing. Moreover, I don't have to lie about this matter. Even Holy Master Xuanbing's chaos technique is in my hands. How can it be fake? Qing Su said calmly. He did not go out of his way to explain. Yulan, Wu Fa Jinren, Bai Qi, and the others looked at each other. Their faces were full of doubts, but as Tsing Hui said, he didn't have to lie. With Holy Master Xuanbing's chaos technique in his hands, it was enough to prove whether Holy Master Xianbing was alive or dead. We don't doubt you, but this news is too shocking. After a while, Yulan let out a long breath. In the end, she looked at Tsing Hui and said, if you trust me, can you let me verify this chaos technique? If you can prove that it's really the 29th level primal chaos technique of sacred venerable black ice, I can make the decision to find a suitable buyer for you. This buyer's final price for this primal chaos technique will not be lower than 200 Dao runes. Yulan is the disciple of Zhu Zhao Venerable, I naturally trust you. Tsing Hui didn't hesitate. He simulated Holy Master Xuanbing's chaos technique and handed it to Yulan. Chaos technique was the only thing in the Chaos Divine Palace that could be directly traded. After receiving the chaos technique given by Tsing Hui, Yulan couldn't wait to try it. Bai Qi and Wufa Zhenren also stared at Yulan with sparkling eyes. An almighty was an important existence to any force. A sect might have thousands or even tens of thousands of golden core experts, but the number of almighty experts could be counted on one hand. In the entire divine wilderness world, other than the heavenly Tao, eternal, and divine wilderness, no other faction dared to say that they had more than 3 digits of almighty experts. After all, the amount of resources needed to advance from a high-grade golden core to a perfected high-grade golden core was too great. Furthermore, even if one had a perfected high-grade golden core, the probability of condensing a golden core was less than half. With such a shocking probability, even if the rich and overbearing heavenly Tao lost an almighty, it would be enough to cause the heavenly Tao to be in great pain. It would also allow the other forces to adjust their strategies in certain aspects. Who? After a long while, Yulan let out a long breath. Her starry eyes were filled with shock. Seeing Yulan, Wufa Zhenren, and Bai, they could guess the result, but they still couldn't believe it. They asked, Yulan, how is it? Is. Yulan met, and, Yulan, nodded, Yulan's. Hiss, Wufa Zhenren and Bai Qi couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. At the same time, they turned to Tsing Hui in shock. You actually killed Saint Master Xianbing, the almighty Saint Master Xianbing? Tsing Hui just nodded and didn't say anything. Pak Hui, if you're willing to let me contact a buyer for you, I'll do it now. I don't dare to say more, but I can guarantee you that the price of this primal chaos incantation will definitely not be lower than 200 Dao rhymes. Yulan solemnly promised. Looking at Tsing Hui, her gaze was no longer as careless as before. Thank you. In addition to Dao rhymes, I also need a token of the world of battle. If he doesn't have enough Dao rhymes, he can offset it with the token of the world of battle. I can let him offset it with 120 Dao rhymes. Tsing Hui nodded slightly. Token of the world of battle? Okay, I'll contact him now. After Yulan spoke, her figure flashed, and she disappeared from the Sky Dome realm. Her matter could be delayed as well. Wufa Zhenren watched Yulan leave, and his gaze paused on Tsing Hui for a moment. He hesitated for a while, and said, Pak Hui, I don't know if you were lucky enough to kill Saint Master Xianbing, or, do you really have the ability to kill an almighty? It depends on what almighty. If it's not a top almighty, it shouldn't be difficult to kill. Tsing Hui said. The top almighty he mentioned naturally didn't refer to the people who had studied divine powers to the peak like Dharma King Su and Saint Golden Feather, but the terrifying existence like him who had evolved supreme divine powers and could fight across realms. However, Wufa Zhenren and Bai Qi obviously didn't know this. Hearing that Tsing Hui was confident that he could defeat the enemy's divine powers, their eyes lit up at the same time. Pak Hui, I don't know if you can go to the clear Jade Spring and help me. Many of the Almighty in the Sky Dome realm are guarding those precious resource points. It's not easy to get them out in this troubled period. Even if I ask Zhangzhen Shangren for help, he may not be able to send enough experts to help me. Therefore, I can only put my hope on you. The clear Jade Spring, Tsing Hui thought for a while. Now his cultivation was not weak, and he could slowly repay the various favors he owed to the Sky Dome realm. However, his favors were owed to Zhangzhen Shangren, Zhuzhao Shangren, and the Sky Dome Master, not Wufa Zhenren, who had no friendship with him. He said, I have to talk to Zhangzhen Shangren first. If Zhangzhen Shangren thinks that I should go to the clear Jade Spring with you, I will follow his orders. Of course. When Zhangzhen Shangren is done, we will go to see him. Although Tsing Hui didn't promise immediately, Wufa Zhenren was still quite confident that he could persuade him to go to the clear Jade Spring. Pak Hui. While Tsing Hui and Wufa Zhenren were waiting, Yulan's figure had appeared again. I have discussed with my friend. He is willing to buy your chaos secret art for a writ of the world of battle and 100 Dao rhymes. However, he is currently in some trouble and can't send his avatar to trade with you. Do you want to wait for a while or go by yourself? If you go by yourself, he is willing to add 10 Dao rhymes to the journey. I will go by myself. Xing Hui said. 10 Dao rhymes were still Dao rhymes, and he really lacked Dao rhymes now. Well, I will contact him and ask him to provide the coordinates. Yulan said. At this time, the door of the External Affairs Hall of Zhangzhen Shangren opened, and an old man in the gold core realm with a somewhat gloomy expression walked out. After seeing the people waiting outside, he only bowed slightly to Yulan, Bai Qi, Wu Fa Zhenren, and other powerful figures, then turned and left. Obviously, his request to Zhangzhen Shangren was not agreed. The two of us will go in first. Wu Fa Zhenren on the side was afraid that Xing Hui would send his avatar to trade with the powerful figure and fall into a weak state, so he hurriedly said first. Then, without giving Yulan a chance to stop him, he pulled Xing Hui into the inner hall. In the palace, Zhangzhen Shangren was flipping through the information at this time, and in front of him, there were many messages submitted from various places in the territory under the jurisdiction of Tianqiong. The ones that could be directly submitted to him were all in the Gold Core realm or were related to important matters of this level. The matters below the Gold Core realm did not need Zhangzhen Shangren, a peak powerful figure, to deal with personally. Wu Fa, and Pak Hui. Zhangzhen Shangren heard the footsteps and looked at Xing Hui and Wu Fa Zhenren. At the same time, he put down the information in his hands. What do you two want? Wu Fa, are you at Clear Yuchuan? Is there a problem with Clear Yuchuan? Yes. The Divine Ghost Sect sent 3 almighty experts to occupy the Clear Jade Spring. I had no choice but to retreat with my men. But even so, many of our people were still captured by the Divine Ghost Sect. I came here to ask Master to transfer some people to me. It would be best if you could send 2 almighty experts to help us take back the Clear Jade Spring and save our Heaven Dome sect disciples who were captured by them. 2 powerful figures. Zhangzhen Shangren frowned. Master Zhangzhen furrowed his brows. You should understand that the Divine Ghost Sect is still mainly probing, but on Blazing Mountain, there are real battles and small battles. The people of the Heavenly Tao in that direction will not give us a way out. Once we lose, it will be very difficult for anyone to survive. Therefore, that battlefield and the battlefield of Little Sun Mountain are the most important. I understand. Wu Fa Zhenren turned his gaze to Xing Hui. Sending 2 powerful figures may be a little difficult, but if you can send one of them and let Her Excellency Pak Hui assist me, I will be able to take back Clear Yuchuan. Pak Hui. Zhangzhen's gaze immediately fell on Pak Hui. At the same time, he looked sternly at Wu Fa Zhenren. Why do you want Pak Hui to go and help you guard Clear Yuchuan? What do you know? Wu Fa Zhenren saw Zhangzhen's expression suddenly become so stern and couldn't help but be slightly startled. Master, did you get some information? Zhangzhen asked sternly. Xing Hui naturally understood Zhangzhen's meaning. The main reason for his stern words was because he guessed that Wu Fa Zhenren knew about his chaotic level. He immediately explained, it's just that I killed the powerful figure Xianbing Saint and told Wu Fa Zhenren that I broke through to the transcendent realm and derived a transcendent ability. Only the top transcendent realm experts can defeat me. Therefore, Wu Fa Zhenren wanted to take advantage of the fact that I have not been assigned a task to bring me to Clear Yuchuan in advance to guard it. It's not what you think. Zhangzhen was slightly startled when he heard Xing Hui's words. Then, he said with some surprise, you killed Xianbing Saint. Xianbing Saint is the son of Tiandao Qin Wei Tao. He is a powerful figure worthy of his name. Even if he was lucky to become a powerful figure and his foundation is shallow, he is definitely not you. Speaking of this, he suddenly realized the second half of Xing Hui's words. He was stunned at first, then immediately stood up and stared at Xing Hui in shock. Pak Hui boy, what did you just say? You said that you broke through to the transcendent realm and derived a transcendent ability. You really derived a transcendent ability. Wuxia Zhenren was also startled. He didn't show as much shock and disbelief as Zhang. He just asked curiously, didn't His Excellency Pak Hui say that he had just reached the true energy realm a few years ago? Could it be a miscommunication? In fact. Don't interrupt. Before Wuxia Zhenren could finish, he was interrupted by Zhang with a wave of his hand. He stared at Xing Hui without blinking. I seem to have heard wrongly just now. Say it again. You said that you broke through to the transcendent realm and derived a transcendent ability? Xing Hui understood that his achievement in such a short period of time was indeed enough to shock people. However, he now had the confidence to even fight against a divine being. He didn't have to hide like before. He nodded slightly and said, "Yes, Master. I broke through to the transcendent realm and derived a transcendent ability." Chapter 589. You've really derived a divine power? You've been on the path of cultivation for 40 years. Xing Hui looked at Master Zhang in front of him and understood the shock he would bring if he revealed this news, but he could only say, "Master, if you need my help with anything, just let me know. Before I grew up, I received all kinds of help from you. Now that I have some ability, I should lend Tianqiong a helping hand when he is in danger." Master Zhang sat down and motioned for Xing Hui to pause. Let me take a break. After a while, he let out a heavy breath and then turned his gaze to Zhenren Wufa. Let me talk to Pak Hui alone. For the time being, don't spread the news of him breaking through to the divine power realm. Zhenren Wufa naturally understood the impact of having an additional trump card of the divine power realm. After all, many top forces more or less knew how many divine power realm experts they had. In the situation where those divine power realm experts kept each other in check, a completely free divine power realm expert could often play an amazing role. He immediately said, "I understand. I will not mention this to anyone. Even Bai Qi and Yulan, I will ask them to keep it a secret as much as possible. Well, I will keep the matter of your Qin Yuchuan in mind. If there is a suitable person, I will immediately send him to you." "Thank you, Master." Zhenren Wufa nodded and retreated. Pak Hui, although Xian Bing is not weak, he has many divine weapons given to him by Qin Wei Holy Woman to protect himself. If you want to kill him, it will not be an easy task. Moreover, you claim that you can't defeat anyone other than the top forces. What kind of divine power did you derive? Master Zhang said seriously. Xing Hui was silent for a moment. He could not give a final judgment as to what level the divine power of chasing light belonged to. He estimated that it was a supreme divine power, but before he really saw a supreme divine power, he could not give an accurate answer. He just said, "It's not an ordinary divine power. This is no ordinary divine ability." Hiss. The Zhangzhen monk sucked in a deep breath and shot a glance at Qing Su. "I already knew that you were extraordinary, kid. You would definitely achieve great things in the future. I even considered taking you as my disciple in the past, but I found it very difficult to accept the fact that my previous disciples were useless, so I never formally asked you to take me as your disciple. As a result, I ended up ruining the relationship between you and Zhu Zhao. I've always felt that it was a pity, afraid that you would waste your time without a master to guide you. However, I never thought that in just a dozen years, you would actually surpass the great feat that ordinary people could not accomplish in a few decades or even a few centuries, deriving abilities and reaching the godhood in a single breath." Xing Hui looked at Master Zhangzhen. He had more or less felt that Master Zhangzhen wanted to take him as his disciple, but, in the end, fate made a fool of him. When Master Zhangzhen and Master Zhu Zhao were still humbling each other about who should be his master, he had already condensed a divine power and stepped into the realm of powerful forces. Moreover, with the mystery of the divine power of chasing light, it was unknown whether Master Zhangzhen, who was at the peak of the powerful forces, could still suppress him. If Zhu Zhao was not seriously injured, I would really take you to him and ask him if he regretted missing such a talented disciple like you. Master Zhongzhen exalted said with some indignation. Both of you have given me a lot of advice on my cultivation path. In my mind, both of you can be called teachers. Why should I care about such a trivial title? Hearing Tsing Hui's words, Master Zhongzhen exalted stared at Tsing Hui for a moment and finally nodded. You are right. We are too pretentious. Moreover, we two old men think too highly of ourselves. You have used your own talent to prove to all of us that even without us, you can still break through a path that is far beyond our imagination. Moreover, with the divine power you have derived in the end, I believe that your future achievements will definitely be above mine. As for Master Zhu Zhao, he could not guarantee it. Master, if there is anything in Tianxiong that I can do for you, please let me know. As a member of Tianxiong, I am willing to contribute my own strength to Tianxiong. Tsing Hui went straight to the point. Master Zhongzhen exalted nodded. After a moment, he seemed to have thought of something. His eyes focused and he quickly fell into deep thought. Tsing Hui looked at him from the side and did not want to disturb him. After a while, Master Zhongzhen exalted glanced at Tsing Hui and said seriously, "Come with me." The next moment, the environment around him began to change rapidly. As the space shuttled and the light flowed, when the scene around him became clear again, he had already appeared outside the courtyard of Master Zhongzhen exalted. At this time, Master Zhongzhen exalted was in front of a huge expectation, thinking hard. When he saw Tsing Hui and Master Zhongzhen exalted, he turned his eyes to the two of them. Zhongzhen. Pak Hui. Master Zhongzhen exalted looked at the chessboard in front of Master Zhongzhen exalted and could not help but sigh. It has been more than 10 years, but the mechanism on the chessboard still can't be solved. It seems that it really can't be solved. At present, we are in a crisis. Speaking of this, Master Zhongzhen exalted glanced at Tsing Hui, as if he no longer regarded Tsing Hui as an outsider. He continued, in this case, it's very difficult for us to turn the tables under the suppression of the way of heaven. Even with the help of Jianing, we can't avoid the crisis of destruction. At present, I can't think of any solution, so I can only pin my hope on that cave mansion. You, Zhu Zhao, and Yuan Ri have been trying to deduce this chessboard for so many years, but you haven't succeeded. It can be seen that this mechanism is not something we can open with our strength. We have cleaned up all the mechanisms outside the cave mansion, and there is only one step left. We failed at the last step. How unwilling we are to admit defeat. If we can really open this cave mansion, with the great reputation of this great existence in the divine wilderness era, the many treasures produced in it will definitely make our heaven vault force improve greatly. The many treasures in this cave mansion may make our heaven vault force soar, but it may also make us gain nothing. This is the mentality of a gambler. Master Zhongzhen exalted sighed. The fact that Master Zhongzhen exalted Master, an invincible giant in the divine realm, pinned his hopes on such a slim hope showed how dangerous the situation was for the heaven vault force. Man can conquer nature. At present, the way of heaven does not intend to use the war of chaos to deal with us. In addition, in the recent battle, Lihan Holy Man has not returned, Qingwei Holy Man was seriously injured, and Anusruckus Holy Man's Daoyuo star disk was also damaged and difficult to repair in a short time. We have already gained a lot of time. During this time, there may be a new turning point. Time, Master Zhongzhen exalted Master shook his head. The reason why the way of heaven is willing to be dormant is not because we have destroyed 2 Tao Masters, but because they are waiting. The first Tao Master of the way of heaven, the Chaos Tao Master who is said to be immortal. Once the Chaos Tao Master can break through to the 3rd divine realm, his only drawback will be completely fixed. At that time, no one in the world can stop him, even the divine Master Ancient Wilderness and the eternal Emperor Tai Yi will be no exception. Divine Master Ancient Wilderness, Emperor Tai Yi, Tsing Hui was very familiar with these 2 existences. There were a total of 10 Supreme Masters in the Divine Wilderness. Almost all of these 10 Supreme Masters had the terrifying strength to kill a Divine Realm expert without giving him a chance to escape. Among these 10 people, Divine Master Ancient Wilderness was ranked first, Emperor Tai Yi was second, and the Chaos Dao Master was third. As for the fourth, it was Zhu Zhao. Master Zhu Zhao. This could be seen from the fact that the 5 Dao Masters of the Way of the Heavens had to set up a trap before they dared to attack esteemed Zhu Zhao. If they really fought head-on, even if the 5 Dao Masters had Anisrava Dao Master, who held the 17th level treasure Daoyuo star disc and whose cultivation was infinitely close to the 2nd level of the Divine Realm, it would still be difficult to avoid heavy losses. This was the deterrent power of esteemed Zhu Zhao. Due to the most obvious drawback of the Chaos Dao Master, his lack of killing means, Master Zhu Zhao even dared to kill his way into the way of heaven. As long as he did not go too deep and was careful not to fall into formations or traps, he could escape unscathed. This was also the reason why Master Zhu Zhao claimed that the way of heaven did not dare to easily bear his anger. Can Master Zhu Zhao really take that step? For us, the most difficult part of the first 3 levels of the Saint Realm isn't the 2nd or 3rd level, but the 1st level, the Domain Realm. The Domain Realm consists of the Domain Origin and the Domain Core. This requires the accumulation of precious treasures. Only when one's domain reaches the peak of the Domain Realm will they be able to touch upon the laws and step into the 2nd level of the Saint Realm, the Insightful Void Realm. The 3rd level of the Saint Realm requires the understanding and application of the laws. Similarly, it doesn't require much resources. Due to the destruction of the Divine Wilderness, if we want to obtain resources for the Domain Realm, we can only rely on the Primal Chaos Treasure Pavilion or the Primordial Cave Abode. This is why so many people are stuck at the Domain Realm. The Firmament Master continued with a solemn expression, 40 years ago, an invincible existence at the peak of the divine stage who could create a world with a single thought came into being. The Divine Wilderness, the Eternal Sect, and the Heavenly Tao Sect are the ones who benefited the most from it. Because of this, Divine Wilderness Sect, Eternal Sect, and Heavenly Tao Sect all stepped into the Insightful Void Realm. Now, 40 years have passed. God knows how powerful they have become. I think this is the reason why they had the courage to clear the area. Master Cangzhen's heart was heavy. The difference in cultivation between each level of the Saint Realm might not be as great as the difference between the Golden Core Realm and the Divinity Realm, but it was not much smaller. It was not an exaggeration to say that the 3rd level of the Saint Realm could suppress hundreds of experts at the 1st level of the Saint Realm. Even if the Divine Art could slightly reduce the gap between the levels. Master Zhu Zhao, Emperor Tai Yi, and Divine Elder Ancient Desolation, which one of them had not maxed out the Divine Art? Although Master Zhu Zhao had the highest chance of breaking through, no matter who broke through first, the world would be swept away. When that time came, the Divine Wilderness would no longer have peace. Chapter 590. Zhangzhen Master looked at Firmament Master. He more or less understood why Firmament Master was so anxious to solve the chessboard mechanism. The owner of the cave behind the chessboard mechanism was also a supreme overlord who stood at the peak of the Divine Realm. If Firmament Master could really open the cave of this expert at the peak of the Divine Realm, with so many resources, Firmament Master would definitely soar to the sky. We don't have much time left. Firmament Master let out a long sigh. Not necessarily. Zhangzhen Master said slowly after a moment of silence. Firmament Master's eyes fell on Zhangzhen Master. Zhangzhen Master did not waste any time and directly pushed Xing Hui to Firmament Master. I came here mainly for Pak Hui. If Firmament Master has a chance to turn the situation around, besides Zhu Zhao, I'm afraid it's Pak Hui. Pak Hui? Firmament Master was a little confused. Pak Hui derived a divine power and stepped into the Divine Realm. Moreover, it's not an ordinary divine power, but a great divine power. Pak Hui derived a divine power. Firmament Master was shocked by Zhangzhen Master's words. He immediately looked at Xing Hui and said, "How? How is this possible? If the information I collected is correct, he has cultivated for less than 40 years, right?" "Yes, less than 40 years. To be exact, 32 years. He's only 32 years old this year." Zhangzhen Shangren sighed with emotion. In 32 years, he has cultivated from a mortal to a powerful figure, and what he has cultivated is not an ordinary supernatural power. You should know better than me what this means, Sun Qiong. With such talent, if we give him another 10 or 20 years, how much do you think he can grow to? Celestial body? Realm? Insightful void? Or crushing vacuum? Firmament Master's eyes lit up when he heard Zhangzhen Master's words. However, after a while, his face darkened. 10 years. 20 years. Do we have another 10 or 20 years? Why not? Sun Qiong, I think you are confused. What is the biggest difference between us chaos and those cultivation sects? This is our secret nature. We don't have any foundations or legacies. All we need to do is to take away the many branches in the real world. No matter how powerful the heavenly axiom is, it will take a lot of time and effort to find us. Perhaps we will lose a lot of resource points by doing so. However, as long as Pak Hui can break through to the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, the domain realm, the insightful emptiness realm, or even the void-shattering realm in the next 10 to 20 years, we will be able to take back everything we have lost and confront the heavenly axiom, the divine wilderness, and the eternity head-on. Saying this, Zhangzhen Exalted's eyes flashed. He doesn't even need to reach the vacuum-shattering realm. As long as Pak Hui can reach the vacuum-shattering realm, he will be able to fight a vacuum-shattering realm master head-on, just like Zhu Zhao Exalted. When Xing Hui heard Master Zhangzhen mention Master Zhu Zhao, he suddenly reacted. The reason why people were so afraid of Zhu Zhao was because he had derived a great divine ability. Pak Hui, Master Zhangzhen was a little hesitant. After all, even though the foundation of the Sky Dome realm was concentrated in the Sky Dome realm, the Sky Dome realm had also developed a considerable faction in the real world. Perhaps the strength of the Sky Dome realm could not be compared to the 1 hall, 3 sects, 6 schools, and 9 gates, but it was still an existence that was second only to these peak factions. He couldn't bear it. Zhangzhen, why are you still hesitating? If we can temporarily retreat from Tianhuang region, not only can we be at ease to look for the various treasures to cure Zhu Zhao, you can also calm down to deduce the chessboard mechanism. This is the best way to advance by retreating. Otherwise, sooner or later, the strength of Tianqiong will be exhausted by the way of the heavens and those forces that have their eyes on us until we have no power to fight back. Hearing Master Zhangzhen's words, Master Zhangzhen was silent for a long time before he turned his gaze back to Xing Hui. Pak Hui, if we pour all the resources of Tianqiong into you, are you confident that you can break through to the vacuum-shattering realm within 20 years? No. Even if you can't break through to the vacuum-shattering realm, you can break through to the profound void realm. The profound void realm is a special state that allows you to escape into the void and turn into nothingness. You won't be afraid of any killing methods. Only when you can break through to the vacuum-shattering realm can you hurt the profound void realm experts. Only when you reach this realm can you be said to be in an invincible position. Xing Hui thought for a while and finally said, I don't know much about the law phenomenon, domain, and profound void realm. I also don't know what resources Tianqiong has. Therefore, I can't answer this question. After that, he added, I came to find Master Zhangzhen this time because I want to know more about this realm in detail. Please enlighten me. Although he had the world-burning incantation, he had already embarked on a different path after switching to the extreme sword principle. He didn't know whether the direction he should go next was to cultivate the law phenomenon, condense the domain, or other aspects. He could only rely on his understanding of the next realm and brainstorm to deduce the next cultivation method of the extreme sword principle. The law phenomenon, the domain realm, the profound void realm, Heavenly Master slightly adjusted his train of thought. I can give you an answer about the changes of these realms. First of all, law being of heaven and earth requires you to constantly study your own divine sense. When your divine sense resonates with the law of heaven and earth and is blessed by the power of heaven and earth, you will naturally enter the law being of heaven and earth. This kind of study doesn't care about the number of divine senses, but the degree of compatibility between the divine sense and the law of heaven and earth. Different divine senses conform to different laws of heaven and earth. The law phenomenon is actually a kind of amplification of divine senses. Master Tsongzhen, who was standing at the side, added, like my divine ability, I call it the Ksitigarbha technique. This divine ability is divided into two forms. One is my own form, and the other is my attack form. However, both forms allow me to control the power of the earth. I can use the power of the earth to increase the gravity around me by 200 times or even 100 times. At the same time, the minor divine ability that I developed allows me to use the power of the earth veins to teleport quickly. After this divine ability is evolved into the law embodiment of heaven and earth, the power of the divine ability will increase dramatically. Originally, the gravity around me will only increase by 200 times, but under the law embodiment of heaven and earth, I can increase it by 1,000 times, or even more. More than 1,000 times. That's right. Under the maximum pressure of 1,000 times, the true origin energy and divine sense of an Almighty might be able to break through the suppression of gravity. However, their bodies and internal organs will definitely not be able to withstand it. Therefore, in a group battle, once I enter the law phenomenon realm, I can usually defeat dozens of Almighties within my attack range. If it is an ordinary golden core realm cultivator, within the range of gravity with me as the center, he will definitely die. When Master Tsongzhen said this, there was a trace of regret in his eyes. It's a pity that the higher the gravity, the worse my control over it. Under the pressure of 1,000 times the gravity, I can no longer distinguish between friend and foe. Otherwise, if my divine sense cooperates with other people's divine sense, the lethality of the damage will definitely increase exponentially. My divine sense is a little different from Zhongzhen Exalted. I awakened the Kunpeng bloodline and condensed a divine grade fighting body. The divine sense I awakened was the Void Seal. However, later on, I supplemented my main divine sense by studying small divine senses and formed an attack that simulated the collapse of the void. I named it the Grand Collapsing Art. I used the divine sense to form a space to trap the enemy and then let the space collapse. As I studied this power to the peak, I actually sensed the Dharma of the void. After entering the law embodiment of heaven and earth state with this Dharma of the void, I can draw in the turbulence of the void after the grand collapsing art collapses the space, making the power soar. As for the next step, it is the realm. The materialization of the law phenomenon realm. That's right. In fact, the law phenomenon realm is supported by the power of the laws of heaven and earth. The realm relies on your understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. Then, you use your own will and the innate charm of some divine beasts to refine the origin of the realm and materialize it. It's a bit similar to the materialization of the battle physique from the blue netherworld realm to the vision saint realm. The only difference is that it's much harder to materialize the laws of heaven and earth than to materialize the battle physique. According to what you said, the law phenomenon realm should be more powerful than the realm, right? Why is the Grand Dominion realm ranked after the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth realm? Master Tsongzhen and Master Tsongzhen exchanged a look and finally said, in fact, this has to do with the origin of our cultivation system. Our cultivation system originated from the divine beasts and the divine beasts. That's how the divine beasts and the divine beasts are categorized. Moreover, do you really think that the law phenomenon realm is more powerful than the realm? You're completely wrong. The power of the law phenomenon realm is supported by heaven and earth, but the power of the realm is simulated and materialized by one's own strength. One is borrowed, and the other is one's own. How can they be compared? In fact, in the realm, it's very difficult, or even impossible, for almighties to enter the law phenomenon realm. This is why the realm can easily defeat the law phenomenon realm. In the realm, the law phenomenon realm can't enter the law phenomenon realm. Xinghui frowned. The cultivation system that simulated the growth of the divine beasts and the divine beasts was indeed prone to all kinds of problems and drawbacks. It was the same for the Golden Core realm and the Divinity realm, and it was the same for the Law Phenomenon realm and the realm. Perhaps, this cultivation system might not be as perfect as he imagined. Then, could he come up with a way to skip the Law Phenomenon realm and enter the realm? The characteristic of the realm was to rely on one's own comprehension of the laws, one's will, and the innate charm of the divine beasts to refine the origin of the realm and materialize it to affect the surrounding space and the world. The comprehension of the laws is like a key, the will is the strength of one's mind, and the innate charm is the strength of one's true chi. When the three are combined, one can cultivate the origin of the realm. If I want to skip the law phenomenon realm, I'll have to skip the condensation of my soul and study the laws. Then, I can only work on the innate charm. It's impossible for a green netherworld realm expert to be a match for a prominent saint realm expert. However, if the green netherworld realm expert has enough true chi and its quality is high enough, it wouldn't be difficult for him to crush a prominent saint realm expert. Just like a never-ending realm expert, even if he doesn't rely on the strength of his battle physique, he can still crush the battle physique of a prominent saint realm expert with his endless true chi. Innate charm, only those divine beasts in the saint realm had it. In other words, if he wanted to reach this step, he had to have the strength to kill divine beasts and divine beasts. I need to comprehend sword force. Chapter 591. Spiritual will was, in fact, momentum. When one's spiritual will was strong enough to condense momentum, one could combine the laws and the innate charm into one and condense the origin of the domain. Xinghui set his next cultivation goal as sword momentum. Even if the cultivation method he discovered could not be realized in the end, he could just turn back and cultivate the laws again. In the end, it would not be too serious. After the domain is the profound void realm. However, the cultivation of the domain involves the origin of the domain. The reason why only creatures related to space, such as chaos and Kuanpeng, are chosen to form the origin of the domain is mainly because of the cultivation of the profound void realm. For cultivators with the bloodline of the Golden Crow, they may not be able to use the innate charm of chaos and Kuanpeng to form the origin of the domain. However, in this way, the difficulty of entering the profound void realm will be much higher. After all, it is most convenient to comprehend the laws with the law of space. Even divinity ancient wildness of the divine wilderness and Emperor Tai of the eternal have embarked on the path of using the innate charm of chaos as the origin of the domain. Once a cultivator enters the profound void realm, he can integrate himself with the law and be in a state between an illusory life and a real life. Therefore, he will be invincible. The Firmament Master continued, the reason why there are so many people who have awakened the bloodline of the Kuanpeng is because of this consideration. As for cultivators with the bloodline of the Golden Crow, it is because it is more convenient to cultivate in the early stage. After all, the grand sun is always hanging high in the sky. Cultivators can use the power of the grand sun to cultivate in any environment. Xinghui nodded, Master, my sword intent has been perfected. If I want to push it to the level of sword momentum, I don't know how to do it. Perfected sword intent? The Firmament Master stared at Xinghui for a moment in astonishment. However, when he thought that Xinghui was able to derive a divine sense after more than 30 years of cultivation, he gradually returned to normal. I'm not a real cultivator of sword intent, so I don't know much about the transformation of sword intent to sword momentum. However, I have my own understanding of momentum. Intent can be understood as one's own will, and momentum can be understood as the will of a group. Just like what we often say about gathering the momentum of people, in fact, it is the will of the individual leading the group. Sword intent is limited to individuals, but sword momentum is bound to appear in a group. Group, indeed, it's just like my force. My force is related to the blood of the Kuan-Ping that I've awakened. The Kuan-Ping is a legendary creature, it's tens of millions of miles long. Based on that, I've transformed my force into an empty space and then I've integrated it into my domain. If I just use my force, you will feel that the entire world is oppressing you. That kind of force isn't limited to one or two people, it's the entire world. You're alone, how can you resist it? Master Tsongzhen, who was at the side, also said, the force of the firmament is the void, while my force is born from the earth. My force is heavy and suffocating. Besides, the force of the first sun is like the sun, vast and blazing, shining in all directions. The force of the candlelight is mysterious and noble, subduing the enemy without fighting. You won't be able to understand the existence of potential if I just describe it with words. Come to Tianhuang region when you have time. I will summon Yuan Ri and let you feel the changes of potential. Alright, I'll go to Heaven Wasteland. Xing Hui said. Along with seeing his own nature clearly and breaking through the shackles of morality, his soul had already undergone a leap. Not only had the level of his spirit obtained a great improvement, even the perfection level of his sword intent had risen along with it. Thus, comprehending sword force was the best method for him to increase his strength. Well, we'll also make preparations here. After we've dealt with the matters here in 3 to 5 days, we'll help you feel the changes of potential. Master Tsongzhen said. Master Tsongzhen opened his mouth and was about to say something, but Master Tsongzhen secretly shook his head at him. A moment later, Xing Hui left. After he left, Master Tsongzhen asked in confusion, Master Tsongzhen, why did you stop me just now? What did you say? That we're willing to use all our resources on him. Including the limitless Tao fruit? That's right. I believe that with Pak Hui's talent, if he swallows the infinite Tao fruit, he will definitely be able to understand the laws and step into the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth realm. When he reaches the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth realm, the power of his great divine ability will be unimaginably powerful. At that time, with you facing the opponent's domain power head-on, his battle strength will not be inferior to an invincible divine realm giant. I also believe that, but... Master Tsongzhen looked at Xing Hui's departing figure. The infinite Tao fruit is the most precious resource in Tianhuang region. If we really give it to him so easily, what will he think? And, what will the others in Tianhuang region think? The others in Tianhuang region. Master Tsongzhen frowned. The existence of the infinite Tao fruit was not known to the few of them. Many masters and core members knew about the existence of the infinite Tao fruit. For example, Master Three Wonders of the Six Sacred Sects had joined Tianhuang region because he was indebted to Master Tsongzhen, but also because of the infinite Tao fruit. If he had the infinite Tao fruit, he would certainly be able to completely understand the laws that he was compatible with. At that time, he only needed to prepare enough innate charm to condense the domain origin in one go and step into the divine realm. The Tao fruit of infinity is different from other things. White ruins, he needs to make some contributions before I can bestow the fruit upon him and shut the mouths of others. Otherwise, given the current state of the celestial vault, the hearts of the people in the celestial vault would truly fall apart if we, the rulers of the celestial vault, continue to act willfully. When that happens, even if the celestial vault could rely on white ruins to regain a foothold in the celestial barrens, who knows if it would still be the same celestial vault as before. Master Tsongzhen fell silent when he heard Master Tsongzhen's words. One should not meddle in politics if one was not in position. As the true leader of Tianhuang region, Master Tsongzhen had to consider more comprehensively than him. I understand. When he comes to Tianhuang region, I will assign him some tasks according to his true strength and let him make contributions. I will have to trouble you with this matter. Master Tsongzhen's gaze fell on the chessboard in front of him. This chessboard focuses on deduction, and in terms of deduction, the most proficient person in this Tao in the entire divine wilderness is the leakless Tao Master, followed by the divine prophet and the head of the pavilion of heavenly secrets. Why don't we just ask the divine prophet and the head of the pavilion of heavenly secrets to help? No matter what, the two of them are still part of our divine wilderness world. Even if they don't agree with our ideals. Divine wilderness. Humph. I have never forgotten why my Tsang family's ancestor died. I will work with anyone, but not with the divine wilderness. Master Tsangzhen saw that Master Tsangzhen's attitude was firm, and in the end, he could not say anything. Everyone has their own unique point of view and stand on everything. Just like the Chaos Organization Divine Wilderness, it was difficult to survive under the oppression of the Immortal Emperor. If they did not join forces with the Heavenly Way and the Immortal Emperor, when the Immortal Emperor defeated the Heavenly Way and the Immortal Emperor, what awaited them was inevitably the fate of annexation. In the end, although they caused the collapse of the Immortal Emperor, after the final battle that shattered the Divine Wilderness, no one in the Divine Wilderness retreated to resist the further destruction of the Heavenly Way and the Immortal Emperor. Some people saw him as a savior and tried to curry favor with him. Some people saw him as the biggest traitor of the Divine Wilderness world and hated him to the core. The right and wrong in this matter was not something that they could explain clearly at the moment. After leaving the mountain where Master Tsangzhen was located, Tsing Hui did not immediately explain the matter of the hidden sword sect. Instead, he found Yulan and obtained the spiritual imprint of the traitor from her. After obtaining the spiritual imprint, Tsing Hui, who wanted to obtain the token of the world of battle and the 110-year-old Tao item as soon as possible, did not waste any time. He directly sensed the location of the traitor, the flying fish sword saint, and then used the incarnation technique. As the incarnation technique was used, Tsing Hui immediately felt a resonating spiritual fluctuation tens of millions of kilometers away. Then, his consciousness shuttled, crossing thousands of mountains and rivers in an instant, and directly descended into the void where the traitor, the flying fish sword saint, was. However, what surprised him was that the flying fish sword saint was currently fleeing. He was being chased by two almighties who had also derived divine powers. Before Tsing Hui could completely condense the incarnation, the flying fish sword saint had already flown away on his sword and directly disappeared. This. How do I trade? Tsing Hui looked at the flying fish sword saint disappearing into the horizon and felt somewhat helpless. He had no choice but to contact Yulan in the Chaos Temple. With the change of the surrounding space, he suddenly appeared in Yulan's courtyard. At this time, Yulan was discussing something with a somewhat familiar person. Seeing Tsing Hui's arrival, she first nodded to him and motioned for him to wait for a moment, and then turned to the man in front of her and said, "Then it's settled. When will you deliver the 100 giant magnetic arrows?" "Give me 10 days. I'll definitely deliver it within 10 days. Ha! My magnetic giant arrows are terrifying killing weapons that can even kill almighties. Don't worry. Once you're equipped with these magnetic giant arrows, you'll definitely fall in love with them. You have to be able to shoot people first." Yulan said somewhat helplessly, "When you improve the propulsion system of these giant magnetic arrows, we will talk about it. Don't worry." Speaking of this, the man said regretfully, "Unfortunately, I don't have enough Daoist rhyme recently, so I can no longer purchase the token of the world of battle and launch the war of chaos to go to that world. Otherwise, I really want to learn the propulsion system of that world. With the propulsion system, this alchemy weapon of mine will definitely become the most powerful existence in the entire divine wilderness. Even the Scarlet Sun Demon God, who has been the talk of the town during this period of time, cannot be compared to it. The battlefield of the war of chaos is too random. The possibility of going to the same world at the same time is too low. Even if it is a world with the same background, the probability is less than 1 in 10. Yulan said regretfully. Tsing Hui, who was curious about the cultivation method of the late stage of the 9 transformations of the real dragon, heard this and did not care about being rude. He interrupted and asked, "Senior Sister Yulan, according to what you said, is it really possible to go to the same world of the War of Chaos?" Chapter 592. Yulan and the somewhat familiar-looking man shifted their gazes towards Qing Su at the same time when they heard Qing Su's words. Of course. Before Yulan could reply, the man had already replied with certainty. Although it is impossible for the battlefield scene to be the same, the general background is quite consistent. Otherwise, in addition to the mainstream system in our world, how could there be other systems similar to alchemy, beret formation, and so on? These systems were all learned from other worlds through the scenes of the War of Chaos. Bai Su, let me introduce you. This is the most famous master alchemist in our Sky Dome, Sir Jean Lien. Sir Jean Lien has devoted his entire life to alchemy, and he has advocated for modifying the current alchemy system in Sky Dome many times. Most famously, he once relied on a modified Golden Core Realm alchemy puppet to defeat a battle formation formed by 20 Golden Core Realm experts. In addition, he recently invented the giant magnetite arrow, which is one of the most impressive strategic resources in Sky Dome. It's so powerful that it can threaten even the pinnacle of alchemy. Jean Lien. When Xing Hui heard this, he finally understood why he felt that he was somewhat familiar. Back then, he had seen this person in the book Creation Hall. In addition to the giant magnetic arrow, I have also recently modified the giant profound heavy arrow. This kind of arrow can form a special domain force field, which may not be able to bind those experts who have stepped into the transcendent realm and can erupt with all their strength, but the main point is that it has a large range. This kind of force field can reach up to 1,000 kilometers, which means that once the force field is formed, cultivators below the transcendent realm will have no power to resist. Even if a cultivator in the transcendent realm can break free from the force field, after a few times, his true essence will be consumed by a large amount. Pak Hui, are you interested in buying a few sets? Jean Lien quickly turned his gaze to Xing Hui and promoted his alchemy products. I don't need it for the time being. I wonder what method I should use to go to those scenes. Are you interested in some of the systems in those battlefield worlds? Which battlefield world? We can still communicate. By the way, have you ever entered the battlefield world of the alchemy system? If you can provide valuable alchemy information, I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Jean Lien was very interested. Alright, Jean Lien, let's talk about this later. As for the White Ruins, although the cultivation system in the battlefield world is extraordinary, due to time constraints and the restrictions placed on our cultivation by the War of Chaos, it's very difficult for us to come into contact with things that are too advanced. Even if we did learn them, there wouldn't be much meaning to it. Take the alchemy system for example. The most powerful alchemy product at present is actually the Two-Realm Boat, while the most powerful product in combat is the Scarlet Sun Demon God of the Scarlet Sun Cult. It said that the Scarlet Sun Cult had entered the world of alchemy 3 times back then and had stolen and perfected the alchemy method from that world, which was how they created the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Even so, you've seen the battle strength of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Let alone an invincible Saint Realm powerhouse, even a true lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert would be able to defeat it. I understand. I was just asking out of curiosity. Xing Hui nodded after hearing Yulan's words. The most powerful alchemy product was the Red Sun Devil, while the most powerful body refining expert was only equivalent to the 12th level of the Divine Dragon Realm. Compared to the cultivation system of this world, it was indeed inferior. As for whether you really want to return to a battlefield world with a similar background, it will depend on your luck. There are quite a lot of alchemy battlefield worlds. Secondly, there is a system that gathers faith to become a god. However, although this system is powerful, it is very restrictive. It is said that there was once an invincible divine realm giant who tried to cultivate this system. In the end, he was directly converted into an existence similar to a believer by this system. He wantonly established a religion in the divine wilderness, causing a civil war in the divine wilderness that almost split the divine wilderness. Even if the divine wilderness was destroyed, the divine wilderness was destroyed. In addition, there are various other systems, such as the immortal Tao, formation, alchemy, spirit refinement, and so on. Unfortunately, all of these systems have serious limitations. Moreover, the lower the cultivation limit of a world, the lower the probability of it appearing. Yulan turned her gaze to Tsinghui. Which world do you want to go to? What is the cultivation limit of that world? It is a world that is good at refining the body. The cultivation limit should be the peak of the saint realm. The peak of the saint realm, it is not powerful, but it is not weak either. If you encounter it again, I'm afraid you will have to spend a lot of tokens of the world of battle. The loss outweighs the gain. Qing Su nodded when he heard that. In fact, since our heaven wasteland world was destroyed, many people have focused their energy on the worlds where the tokens of the world of battle are located, hoping to obtain resources to continue their cultivation in the battlefield worlds derived from the tokens of the world of battle. However, according to thousands of experiments, the strongest person in any battlefield world is only in the saint realm. The resources that are very precious to the experts of the saint realm are also extremely precious in those worlds. It is extremely difficult to obtain them. In addition, it takes several attempts to go to such a high-level world. Over time, no one would do such a strenuous and unrewarding thing. Instead of using so many Tao auras to buy the tokens of the world of battle, it is better to buy some suitable resources in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. Speaking of this, Yulan paused slightly and continued, of course, there are also many people who have obtained good things in these battlefield worlds and made rapid progress. Take Jin Lian for example. He used the techniques he learned in that alchemy world to cast giant magnetic arrows and giant mysterious heavy arrows, both of which are very popular. Over the years, he has obtained at least thousands of Tao auras by relying on these alchemy items. His wealth is so great that we are jealous. You only see how many Tao auras I have gained through alchemy, but you don't see how many tokens of the world of battle I have consumed in order to go to that alchemy world again to learn alchemy techniques. Jin Lian said with some dissatisfaction. Since you know that these are evil methods, why don't you spend your Tao aura on the right path, derive divine sense early, and step into the realm of powerful people? I can't help it. This is my hobby. Jin Lian shrugged his shoulders. Yulan shook her head and didn't want to force it. She could only turn to Tsinghui and said, "You didn't come here specifically to inquire about this information, right?" "No, I have already arrived at the Flying Fish Sword Saints area." However, when I arrived, he was being hunted down. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared into the horizon. If you have his contact information, I would like to ask if you want to change the transaction location and time. Being hunted down. Yolan's expression changed. Didn't he say that he could get rid of the people from the Black Flame sect? Black Flame sect? Tsinghui frowned. If he remembered correctly, Hidden Sword Saint had gone to find a powerful person from the Black Flame sect to seek revenge. This is troublesome. The Flying Fish Sword Saint is the supreme elder of the White Rainbow Sword sect. The White Rainbow Sword sect and our Sky Dome sect have quite a lot of cooperation. Not long ago, when esteemed Zhu Zhao was in danger, it was thanks to Bai Heng of the White Rainbow Sword sect that we, Sky Dome sect, owe the White Rainbow Sword sect a favor. Now that the Flying Fish Sword Saint's life is in danger, since we know about it, we can't turn a blind eye to it. A favor must be reciprocated. I will go find Hidden Sword Saint and ask him to dispatch some powerful people nearby to help. There's no need. After hearing Yolan's words, Tsinghui considered that Hidden Sword Saint had gone to the Black Flame sect and there seemed to be no news from him. He immediately said, "Let me do it. I have already upgraded my personal space to level 10. Now that my incarnation is in that area, I can just turn my body over." Yulan glanced at Qing Su hesitantly. After a while of hesitation, she still nodded, "All right then." However, although you've killed Saint Exalt Xianbing before, her battle experience and methods clearly can't compare to those veteran great figures. As a result, you have to be careful when you face the great figures of the Black Flame sect. You have to prioritize your own safety over everything. Don't worry. I will contact the Flying Fish Sword Saint and ask him to meet up with you. Okay. Tsing Hui nodded. Without hesitation, he left the Sky Dome realm. Yulan, who was worried about the Flying Fish Sword Saint's safety, did not notice that using the incarnation technique might have weakened him. Instead, she directly sent a message to the Flying Fish Sword Saint. In the void, Tsing Hui quickly completed the transformation between his incarnation and his body. At the same time, he activated the backtrack technique and restored his condition to its peak. After determining the direction that the Flying Fish Sword Saint had flown in, Tsing Hui directly flew on his sword and chased after the Flying Fish Sword Saint. My flying speed seems to be able to overlap with the speed of a 12th order flying sword. After flying for a while, Tsing Hui's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, an even more violent sound barrier was torn apart by him. In the next moment, his speed increased again. In an instant, he went from less than 20,000 km per hour to 40,000 km per hour. It had more than doubled. It was almost 40 times the speed of sound. This speed, Tsing Hui's eyes shone brightly. Apart from those invincible Saint Realm experts who had top-notch flying swords, who else could match his speed? Relying on this speed, in less than a minute, the Flying Fish Sword Saint and the two powerful people chasing after him appeared in Tsing Hui's field of vision. Seeing Tsing Hui coming at full speed and bringing with him a terrifying sonic boom, the Flying Fish Sword Saint's eyes widened. Sky Pak Hui. Almost at the same time that he called out Tsing Hui's name, Tsing Hui had already whizzed past him with the terrifying sonic boom and air pressure. The sweeping air current caused the Flying Fish Sword Saint's body to tremble, and he was almost blown away. When Tsing Hui and the other two powerful people clashed, a visible shockwave swept out brazenly, and a deafening roar of thunder suddenly sounded. The first powerful person to bear the brunt of the shockwave had just managed to condense a divine ability, but he was actually blown away by Tsing Hui's air pressure with the force of Mount Tai. While in the void, he spat out blood. This, the Flying Fish Sword Saint, who had barely managed to stabilize himself, widened his eyes at this scene. Relying on the shockwave of air pressure from his flying speed, he can already form an attack not inferior to a divine ability. Where did this monster come from? Chapter 593. Who are you? How dare you attack an elder of the Black Flame sect? Looking at the Almighty who was sent flying by the air pressure, the remaining Almighty shouted angrily. At the same time, a blue pearl floated above him. A chilling aura emanated from the pearl. As he made a gesture, a chilling light shot towards Tsing Hui with a chilling aura. Along the way, faint blue traces appeared as though the void was frozen. Be careful. This is the mysterious underworld chilling light. Once it hits you, not only will it hurt your body in your true origin energy, it will also freeze your divine soul. Regardless of whether you block it or not, the effect will not change. Behind Tsing Hui, the Flying Fish Sword Saint's warning could be heard. Hit. Qing Su gazed at the piercingly cold light that shot out from the azure pearl, and he was completely composed. Even though he did not use any divine powers, but, his vision, reflexes, and other aspects had improved, allowing him to clearly see the trajectory of the chilling light. Even though its speed was extremely fast and its power was equally shocking, when all of its attack trajectories were exposed to Tsing Hui, it was useless even if it had the characteristic of causing damage upon hitting. Swoosh! With a sway of his body, Tsing Hui had easily dodged the mysterious underworld chilling light. Then, the sky splitter under his feet exploded with sword speed. Once again, it rolled up a strong air pressure and charged towards the Almighty from the Black Flame sect. As his body moved, the deep scarlet sword in his hand was already out of its sheath. He did not use any powerful sword principle, nor did he use any sure-kill sword moves. He simply stabbed with his sword. With the addition of his terrifying speed, it was already an attack that was not inferior to a divine powers. It was as fast as lightning as it slashed towards the Almighty. Just as that powerful existence reacted and let the azure pearl turn into a blue radiance and descend, protecting his body, the blazing sword light of the scarlet abyss sword had already exploded in front of this layer of blue flowing light. The terrifying heat swept through the air, causing a suffocating impact to spread out wildly. Even though that powerful existence had the azure pearl to block it, he still felt the surging heat wave, as if his body was going to be cooked alive. So fast, the expression of the black flame sex Almighty was stern. As he used the azure pearl to block the sword, he was about to retreat and widen the distance between the two of them. However, the blazing heat suddenly exploded for the second time. In an instant, the azure flowing light, which was already in a precarious situation, was shattered into pieces. The blazing and violent air waves swept up his body. Even though he had the protection of his true origin, he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Just as he spat out a mouthful of blood and before he could figure out how his azure pearl had been broken, in the next moment, the sword light descended. 3 strikes. Xing Hui had not slashed out once, but 3 times. By the time the black flame sex Almighty being could only tell that Xing Hui had only slashed out once, he had already slashed out 3 times. The first slash had weakened the protective light around the azure pearl, the second slash had destroyed the protective light around the pearl, and the third slash had directly slashed the Almighty's body. How can this be? As the Almighty's eyes widened in shock, the blazing sword light of the deep scarlet sword tore through the defensive light of the level 10 armor that had erupted from his body. It ruthlessly slashed his body. The blazing sword chi immediately blasted out of his body, causing him to feel as if his internal organs were on fire. The intense pain almost caused him to cry out in pain. Stop! At this moment, the Almighty who had been sent flying by Xing Hui's air pressure finally reacted. Seeing that his comrade was in danger, he roared loudly. The shadow of a vermilion bird appeared above his head, and a blazing heat wave suddenly exploded. Take my sword. Although the flying fish sword saint who had fled earlier was shocked by Xing Hui's tyrannical strength, he would not let go of this opportunity to take advantage of the situation. The divine weapon in his hand whistled and shot out like a flying sword. However, when it was about to slash the Almighty, the flying sword turned into a huge sword aura that was hundreds of meters long. It slashed down from the sky and covered the earth. The dazzling sword light almost completely shattered the vermilion bird shadow that the Almighty had conjured. Damn it, just as this Almighty was being held back by the flying fish sword saint, Xing Hui's fourth sword had already slashed down. This sword was no longer a sword that harmed the Almighty's body. Instead, it was a sword that went straight to the Almighty's soul. Under this sword, this Almighty who had been injured by Xing Hui's sword chi and could no longer retaliate did not even have the chance to breathe. His soul was severely shaken, and in addition to Xing Hui's attack from the side, he had already been knocked unconscious and captured alive. After capturing this Almighty from the Black Flame sect, Xing Hui's gaze turned and landed on another Almighty. That Almighty was so frightened that his soul almost left his body. He did not dare to have the slightest thought of fighting with Xing Hui. After escaping from the flying fish sword saint's attack range, a pair of wings made of pure flames suddenly appeared on his back. He quickly rushed in the direction of the Black Flame sect's branch. Do you think you can leave? Since you've come, then stay obediently. Xing Hui let out a low growl. Every Almighty represented a few hundred Taoist rhymes. How could he let them go so easily? Accompanied by the whistling of the sky splitter under his feet, Xing Hui's speed had even surpassed the flying fish sword saint who was fighting with that Almighty. Before he could stop this escaping Almighty from the Black Flame sect, Xing Hui had already swept up a violent airwave and caught up to him. Before he even made his move, that terrifying pressure had already caused this almighty from the Black Flame sect to suffocate. By the time he turned around with a furious roar and launched a fierce counterattack, Tsing Hui's Scarlet Abyss sword had already collided with the Vermilion Bird's illusory image that he had summoned. When the two collided, sparks flew everywhere. This almighty from the Black Flame sect took advantage of the shockwave formed by the explosion to increase the distance between them. However, he did not expect Tsing Hui's second sword to follow closely behind. He had no choice but to turn around and defend himself with great difficulty. Bang! A shockwave visible to the naked eye exploded when the Scarlet Abyss sword and the Vermilion Bird's illusory image collided. The terrifying shockwave and blazing heat wave blasted onto this almighty's body, causing him to vomit blood once again. He could not even stabilize his body and fell straight to the ground. Damn it! Ah! This almighty let out a furious roar and the aura of the divine art burst out. His aura suddenly increased by a notch. However, it was useless. The Scarlet Abyss sword radiance had already slashed down at a speed that defied common sense. It was so fast that it did not give the almighty any chance to catch his breath. Slash! 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 Tsing Hui did not use any divine art or sword art. He only used the most ordinary and basic slash. When these ordinary slashes slashed down at a speed that was 2 or even 3 times faster than what an ordinary person could comprehend, the resulting power was enough to completely overturn everyone's understanding of the realm. The Black Flame sect's almighty who had activated the divine art had a much more tyrannical true origin fluctuation than Tsing Hui's. Due to the fact that he had perfect control over his true chi, he was able to dissolve Tsing Hui's slashes every time. However, he could not withstand the speed of Tsing Hui's slashes. It was unreasonably fast. It was unbelievably tyrannical. It was suffocatingly fast. Under such unreasonably fast slashes, this Black Flame sect's almighty who had activated the divine art could only withstand Tsing Hui's sword for a moment longer. That was all. Due to a moment of carelessness, the Scarlet Abyss sword radiance finally tore apart this almighty's defense completely. The dazzling torrent tore the Vermilion Bird's illusory image apart and bombarded the body of this Black Flame sect's almighty. The blazing sword chi instantly pierced a dozen holes in his body. The sword chi that entered his body even shattered all the tendons and veins in his body. No. Before he could continue to fight desperately, Tsing Hui's Scarlet Abyss sword's body had already trembled violently and violently slammed into this almighty's head. The vibrating force that was mixed with the soul-shaking sword essence bombarded him, causing this almighty's indignant and furious screams to stop abruptly. Then, he fainted. Phew! Tsing Hui panted slightly. Capturing him alive and killing him are indeed different. If it was purely killing him, I would have been able to do it after suppressing him. However, to knock him unconscious and capture him alive, the energy required is several times more than capturing him alive. He did not know how many times he had slashed out in one breath just now. He had directly defeated this Black Flame sect's almighty who had activated the divine art. This had placed a heavy burden on his body. After the battle ended, he actually felt a faint soreness in his body. The passive enhancement of Chasing Light has given me a clear advantage against ordinary almighties. If I were to ignite my sword essence and activate Chasing Light, Tsing Hui made a rough estimation, unless that almighty had made preparations beforehand and set up an area of effect battle formation or possessed a domain-type treasure like the Morning Heaven realm, they would not even have the chance to retaliate, let alone fight him. Before they could even react, he would have killed them with a single slash of his sword. The only problem was the burden on his body. Not long ago, he had tried out the remarkable power of Chasing Light. As he had not fought with anyone, he had only been slightly aware of the burden this remarkable power placed on his body. Now that he was fighting with these two almighties, he realized that if he really used Chasing Light, the burden on his body would definitely be far beyond his imagination. The biggest disadvantage of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth experts is that they need time to enter the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth state. Once I activate, chasing light, they won't have the chance to do so. In other words, I can deal with lawful embodiment of heaven and earth experts in the same way that divine realm experts use their domain-type powers to interfere with lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. I can destroy their lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. It's a pity that the effect of chasing light will be greatly reduced when faced with a true divine realm expert. After all, the first level of the divine realm is the domain type. Xing Hui summed up the pros and cons in his mind. However, although the domain-type powers of divine realm experts could somewhat restrain his chasing light, he would only know the extent of it after the battle. The increase in combat strength brought about by the enhancement of vision and nervous reactions seemed to be much higher than he had imagined. You captured both of them alive? At this moment, the rescued flying fish sword saint seemed to have just recovered from Xing Hui's lightning-fast attack. Thinking of the unimaginable and illogical speed in which Xing Hui had defeated these two almighties, the flying fish sword saint could not help but shudder. That was your remarkable power? That's right. Xing Hui nodded. Now, let's find a place to complete the transaction. After that, I'll wake the two of them up. I have some things to ask them. Okay. The flying fish sword saint did not dare to refute and agreed. He looked at Xing Hui with a faint trace of reverence in his eyes. Just now, he had been chased by these two almighties to the point of no escape. Now, these two almighties had been captured alive by Xing Hui alone. In other words, if Xing Hui wanted to kill him, or even capture him alive, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. In front of such a terrifying existence that could dictate his life and death, he naturally had to show enough humility. Chapter 594. Mr. Pak Hui, this is the token of the realm of battle and the vessel of truth that you need. The flying fish sword saint handed the token of the realm of battle and the vessel of truth to Xing Hui on a hill less than 100 kilometers away from the battlefield. Xing Hui sensed the notification from the Chaos Divine Palace and was surprised. There are more vessel of truth than what we said. If it weren't for Mr. Pak Hui's help, I would have most likely fallen into the hands of those two. My life would have been in danger then. Mr. Pak Hui saved my life, so I'll take the extra vessel of truth as a gift to Mr. Pak Hui. The flying fish sword saint said with a hint of guilt. These vessel of truth aren't enough to express my apology, but I'm really sorry, I only have so many vessel of truth on me. You're too polite, flying fish sword saint. In fact, based on the relationship between our two sects, it's only right for me to help you. Qing Su said. However, he still accepted the flying fish sword saint's treasure of 140 charms of ways in the end. He needed far too many of them. Currently, he planned to accumulate 1,000 Taoist rhymes in the Fortune Divine Jade. He wanted to see what would happen when he activated the Fortune Divine Jade with the Taoist rhymes and comprehended the Supreme Immortal Technique. In order for the Fortune Divine Jade to accumulate 1,000 Taoist rhymes, he had to prepare at least 1,000 Taoist rhymes as backup. Otherwise, the expenses of the Chaos Treasure Pavilion would definitely drag him to death. After Xing Hui gave the Chaos Incantation to the Flying Fish Sword Saint, he was about to leave. However, the Flying Fish Sword Saint invited him, Mr. Pak Hui. In fact, another 10,000 kilometers north from here is the Dragon Sword Sect, one of the subordinate forces of our Rainbow Sword Sect. The Dragon Sword Sect was established by the grandson of a great elder of our Rainbow Sword Sect. It also has almighty figures and is quite powerful locally. Could Mr. Pak Hui go to the Dragon Sword Sect to rest and let me entertain Mr. Pak Hui to show my gratitude? There's no need to trouble yourself. I'll interrogate the two almighty figures of the Black Flame Sect first. Xing Hui casually asked, how did the people of your Rainbow Sword Sect get into a conflict with the people of the Black Flame Sect? This I was invited by a senior martial brother to help an old friend of his. I didn't expect to not only fail to save him, but also almost lose my life. A wry smile appeared on the Flying Fish Sword Saint's face as he continued, I still don't know what's going on with the two of them. The only reason I'm heading to the Dragon Sword Sect is because I've invited the sect leader of the Dragon Sword Sect to the Chaos Temple. If the two of us go together, we'll be able to help my senior martial brother. Flying Fish Sword Saint is really loyal. Tsing Hui said. Considering Sword Saint Bai Heng's rescue of Venerable Tian Qiong Zhu Zhao, he added, if Flying Fish Sword Saint can wait for me for a moment, I'm willing to go with you and help you and your senior martial brother. The Flying Fish Sword Saint was overjoyed when he heard this. That's great. If Mr. Pak Hui is willing to help, my senior martial brother and his old friend's crisis will be resolved easily. After saying this, he immediately said, I can't contact my senior martial brother at the moment. It can be seen that he's in a dangerous situation. While we wait for news, we'll mobilize the power of the Dragon Sword Sect and have them investigate my senior martial brother's whereabouts. We'll go to the Dragon Sword Sect first and meet up with the sect master of the Dragon Sword Sect, Sword Saint Long Shao. Okay. Tsing Hui nodded. The Heavenly Tao referred to Saint Realm experts as Tao Sovereigns, Peak Almighties as Tao Masters, and Ordinary Almighties as True Monarchs. However, the Rainbow Sword Sect didn't have such a detailed division. They only referred to Almighties and Peak Almighties as Sword Saints, and Almighties in the Saint Realm as Sword Masters. Almost every sect had these honorific titles. For example, in the Divine Wilderness, the invincible powerhouses at the Divine Realm were called Divine Supremacies, while mighty figures were called Godly Monarchs. In the Eternal Realm, the invincible powerhouses at the Divine Realm were called Empyrean Lords, while pinnacle mighty figures were called Sovereigns. Ordinary mighty figures were called Kings, and so on. To Tsing Hui, an incense stick's worth of time was enough to cross tens of thousands of kilometers. However, the Flying Fish Sword Saint didn't have a 12th order flying sword, and his flying speed wasn't outstanding either. As a result, he could only reach 1/6 of Tsing Hui's speed at full speed. By the time the two arrived at the Dragon Sword Sect, more than an hour had passed. At the entrance of the Dragon Sword Sect, the sect master of the Dragon Sword Sect, Sword Saint Long Shao, was already waiting there. Seeing the Flying Fish Sword Saint arrive, he immediately went up to greet him. Flying Fish Sword Saint. Thank you for waiting so long, Sword Saint Long Shao. Let me introduce you. This is Pak Hui from Heaven's Dome. The Flying Fish Sword Saint immediately introduced Tsing Hui. Sword Saint Long Shao had clearly received the Flying Fish Sword Saint's message from the Primal Chaos Temple, and he treated Tsing Hui with great respect. Thank you for your help, Pak Hui. My Rainbow Sword Sect will forever remember your kindness to Pak Hui. Heaven's Dome is currently on good terms with the Rainbow Sword Sect, and we're even discussing an alliance. It's only right for us to help each other. Tsing Hui said with a smile. The Flying Fish Sword Saint didn't wait for Tsing Hui and Sword Saint Long Shao to continue exchanging pleasantries. He impatiently asked, Sword Saint Long Shao, have you found anything? Has senior brother contacted you or asked for help from the sect? I didn't receive the Floating Cloud Sword Saint's request for help. Sword Saint Long Zhao's expression was solemn. Almost 2 hours have passed, and the Floating Cloud Sword Saint didn't send any message. I'm afraid, he's in danger. Is his sword heart still there? I went to the sect and asked. His sword heart is still there. As long as his sword heart is still there, it means that he's not dead yet. However, he didn't contact us. There are only 2 possibilities for this situation. 1, he's severely injured and unconscious, and can't contact the outside world. The other, Sword Saint Long Shao didn't continue, but the Flying Fish Sword Saint had already guessed it. Captured alive. The Floating Cloud Sword Saint was captured alive, just like how Tsing Hui captured the 2 Almighties from the Black Flame sect. Those people wanted to squeeze the floating cloud sword saint's primal chaos level, Dao-carrying item, and other items out of him. They cut off his communication with the primal chaos temple and were currently torturing him. Who are the people chasing after the floating cloud sword saint? Let's judge based on those people and see the probability of the floating cloud sword saint being captured alive. Then, we'll think of a way. I don't know about this either, the flying fish sword saint frowned and said, in fact, not long ago, senior brother floating cloud's good friend, hidden sword, suddenly came to drink with senior brother floating cloud. During the conversation, senior brother floating cloud vaguely felt that something was wrong with hidden sword, as if he was leaving his last words. Therefore, after hidden sword left, he secretly followed him. Not long after, he contacted me and asked me to go and rescue him. However, before I arrived at the Black Flame sect's territory, I saw that senior brother floating cloud was being chased by more than 10 almighties and an avatar of heaven and earth elite. In the fierce battle, senior brother floating cloud and I fought and ran for 20,000 kilometers. However, not long after, we completely lost each other. Wait. Before the flying fish sword saint could finish, Tsing Hui seemed to have heard something. He suddenly asked, Flying fish sword saint, you just mentioned a person named Hidden Sword. Could it be the Hidden Sword Continent's venerable Hidden Sword? It is indeed the Hidden Sword Continent's venerable Hidden Sword. The flying fish sword saint nodded. The Hidden Sword Venerable, my senior brother floating cloud sword saint, Master Qixin of the Black Flame sect, and Fairy Lan Yin. Back then, they went on adventures together and formed a strong friendship. Among them, the Hidden Sword Venerable and Fairy Lan Yin were said to be in love and almost married. However, due to a fight over an ancient cave, the Master Qixin secretly killed Fairy Lan Yin in order to monopolize the cave. Therefore, the Hidden Sword Venerable has always wanted to kill the Master Qixin. The Hidden Sword Venerable. Tsing Hui heard that the investigation of the Hidden Sword Venerable from the Sky Dome continent was clear. The Hidden Sword Venerable did indeed die at the hands of a Master Qixin of the Black Flame sect. Therefore, he took the opportunity to cultivate the ultimate sword Dao to seek revenge from the Master Qixin of the Black Flame sect. However, wasn't the Master Qixin of the Almighties only an ordinary Almighty? The Hidden Sword Venerable's ability might be inferior to a real divine being. However, with the power of the ultimate sword Dao, it would not be difficult for him to kill an ordinary Almighty. How could he? Do you know the Hidden Sword Venerable, Pak Hui? Sword Saint Long Shao asked. The Hidden Sword Venerable has done me a great favor. I'm currently the Supreme Elder of the Hidden Sword sect. Tsing Hui answered seriously. How is the Hidden Sword Venerable now? Sword Saint Long Shao and the Flying Fish Sword Saint looked at each other. They did not expect things to be so coincidental. Tsing Hui actually knew the Hidden Sword Venerable. After hearing Tsing Hui's words, the Flying Fish Sword Saint hesitated for a while and said, I don't know about this. I only heard from my senior brother Floating Cloud that the Hidden Sword Venerable waited outside for a few months. However, the Master Qixin did not come out. In the end, he killed his way into the Black Flame sect. My senior brother Floating Cloud went to help him but he was in danger. When I went to help him, I only saw senior brother Floating Cloud. I did not see the Hidden Sword Venerable. Is he dead or alive? Tsing Hui's face turned cold. He did not understand why the Hidden Sword Venerable did not simply wait outside the Black Flame sect and wait for the Master Qixin to leave the sect. Instead, he chose to kill his way into the Black Flame sect. It should be known that the Black Flame sect was one of the 6 famous sects in the Heaven Wasteland world. It was said that there were 3 invincible figures of the divine realm in the sect. As for the existence of the powerful figures, there were hundreds of them. Not to mention that the Hidden Sword Venerable was only at the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth level. Even if an invincible figure of the divine realm entered the Black Flame sect, he would definitely die. I can more or less guess why the Hidden Sword Venerable chose to kill his way into the Black Flame sect. Sword Saint Long Shao, who was standing at the side, suddenly said, "From what I know, Master Chi Xin is an extremely low-key person in Black Flame sect. He lives in seclusion. The last time he left Black Flame sect, it should be 100 years ago. In other words, he hasn't left Black Flame sect for 100 years. 100 years. The Flying Fish Sword Saint was stunned. A person could not leave the Black Flame sect for 100 years. Although the lifespan of powerful figures was usually 1 or 2,000 years, and those who took good care of themselves could live for 3,000 years, not leaving the sect for 100 years was still a torture. It was like a mortal who did not leave the house for 3 years. The Master Qi Xin is trying to outlast the Hidden Sword Venerable. After hearing what Sword Saint Long Shao said, Xing Hui immediately understood the real reason why the Hidden Sword Venerable had killed his way into the Black Flame sect. For a moment, he was speechless. However, regardless of whether the Hidden Sword Venerable was right or wrong, just based on the kindness that he had shown to Xing Hui, he had to make a choice. How is the Hidden Sword Venerable now? And the Master Qi Xin, is he dead? Sword Saint Long Shao and the Flying Fish Sword Saint shook their heads at the same time. We don't know, but I believe that the 2 people you captured alive would know something. Qingfen had to admit that he felt a little depressed after seeing the incident between Zhao Yong and Huang Shufen. Regardless of whether the news on the internet is true or not, Qingfen hoped that justice would be served and the law would protect the bottom line of human morality. Chapter 595. In the Dragon Sword Sect's interrogation room, one of the 2 almighties of the Black Flame sect slowly woke up. Huh? When this almighty saw the 3 figures in front of him, his expression changed slightly. Long Shao, Flying Fish. Is your Rainbow Sword sect trying to start an all-out war with our Black Flame sect? Don't forget that the Divine Tao sect is keeping a close eye on your White Rainbow Sword sect. If you offend our Black Flame sect again, be careful that our Black Flame sect will join forces with the Divine Tao sect. At that time, what awaits your White Rainbow Sword sect will surely be annihilation. I recognize you. You're Dharma King Mi Shui of the Black Flame sect. The Black Flame sect won't go to war with the Rainbow Sword sect. What you say doesn't count. What we say also doesn't count. Now, we have something to ask you. You'd better answer honestly. Otherwise, when we use some torture methods, it'll be too late for you to regret. Sword Saint Xiao Long said coldly. While the White Rainbow Sword sect and the Black Flame sect were comparable in terms of power, and both had 3 divine stage cultivators, the 3 divine stage cultivators of the Black Flame sect were the most ordinary of them all. Their level was comparable to the Qin Wei Holy Man and the Lihan Holy Man without the Lihan Heaven Realm. While the other 2 sword masters of the White Rainbow Sword sect were also at this level, Sword Master Bai Heng was above this level. Perhaps he had not reached the level of the 10 great masters, but he was not far from it. Shakyamuni glanced at Sword Saint Long Shao, Xing Hui, Flying Fish Sword Saint, and the others. A while later, he let out a long sigh and asked, "What do you want to ask?" Hidden Sword Venerable and Floating Cloud Sword Saint. Venerable Hidden Sword, Dharma King Mi Shui shook his head. Sanjian overestimated himself. He sneaked into Black Flame sect and tried to kill Dharma King of Black Flame sect. Of course, the real god of Black Flame sect was furious. The moment his identity was exposed, he was killed on the spot by one of the 3 real gods of Black Flame sect, Real God Suffering. Killed. Xing Hui took a step forward, his eyes filled with killing intent as he said, "Since Hidden Sword Venerable is dead, there's no need for any of you to exist anymore. I will make sure that all of you from the Black Flame sect will be buried with Hidden Sword Venerable." As he spoke, he no longer wasted any more words. He summoned the Scarlet Abyss Sword, and a suffocating and terrifying power instantly erupted from it. When Dharmaraja Mishwe saw that Tsing Hui was going to kill him without hesitation after he told him about Hidden Sword Venerable's death, his mind went blank. Does he not want my item? Don't you want my chaos rank anymore? Seeing how the green ruined sword was about to slash down and take his life in the next second, he called out in a hurry, wait, wait. I don't know whether the Hidden Sword Venerable is dead or not. It's just that the true god of suffering personally went to kill him, which is why I speculated that the Hidden Sword Venerable is most likely dead. If you really want to know the exact whereabouts of the Hidden Sword Venerable, I can ask around through the channels of the Chaotic Divine Hall. Your Excellency Pak Hui, please calm down. We'll ask him to find out if Hidden Sword Venerable is fine. If Hidden Sword Venerable isn't dead, why don't we exchange the lives of the two Almighties in exchange for Hidden Sword Venerable's life? I'm afraid that's not a good idea. How can we be sure that he's telling the truth? Before Tsing Hui could speak, Flying Fish Sword Saint said hesitantly, if we don't handle this well, we'll be in big trouble. If the Black Flame sect sends a true god here during the exchange, how are we going to defend ourselves? I'm afraid the White Rainbow Sword sect won't let the Divine God go against the Black Flame sect for Hidden Sword Supreme. What Dharmaraja Mishwe said was right. Our White Rainbow Sword sect and the Divine Tao sect are fighting fiercely. If we offend the Black Flame sect, the situation will become even more difficult. I will give it a try and see if I can convince my grandmother, Rainbow Sword Master. If she were to appear, I believe the Black Flame religion would definitely give us some face. You have to know that the White Rainbow Sword sect is in trouble, but so is the Black Flame religion. Currently, the Divine Wilderness is constantly infiltrating the Black Flame religion and they have the intention to split the three true gods of the Black Flame religion. Currently, the three true gods are seemingly united but divided at heart due to the division of the Divine Wilderness. Even if True God Suffering were to become enemies with the White Rainbow Sword sect, True God One and True God World Savior would definitely drag him down and suppress his reputation to announce their legitimacy in the Black Flame religion. Sword Saint Long Xiao said after pondering for a while. If Sword Master Chang Hong appears, this matter can be considered safe. However, we might as well ask him if he knows the whereabouts of Senior Yun Fu. If Senior Yun Fu is also in their hands, then Sword Master Chang Hong's involvement in this matter is even more justified. Sword Saint Flying Fish said. Alright, to be safe, let's interrogate the other Shakyamuni. I'll have to trouble everyone in the White Rainbow Sword sect. Tsing Hui said in a deep voice. This matter could be said to have arisen because of Hidden Sword Saint. Even the Flying Fish Sword Saint was in danger because of Hidden Sword Saint. Hidden Sword Saint had done him a great favor and the matter that should have belonged to him had caused everyone in the White Rainbow Sword sect to rush over. Tsing Hui naturally had to remember this favor. As for Tianxiong was already in a precarious situation and it wasn't good to complicate matters. Your Excellency Pak Hui is too courteous. We are also trying to save our Senior Yun Fu. Sword Saint Flying Fish was very respectful to Tsing Hui and it didn't seem like he was treating him as an equal. Soon, the three of them woke Shakyamuni up. After some questioning, they found out that Sword Saint Yun Fu had been captured alive. The Black Flame sect had captured Sword Saint Yun Fu alive for two reasons. On one hand, they wanted to interrogate Sword Saint Yun Fu about the many Dao-carrying items and the chaos incantation on him. On the other hand, they didn't want to kill Sword Saint Yun Fu and completely fall out with the White Rainbow Sword sect. After all, Divinity Realm Almighties were the absolute upper echelons of any top force. They were like pillars of support. If they killed Golden Core elders and deacons, the White Rainbow Sword sect might be angry and retaliate but they wouldn't be hostile. However, if an almighty died in the hands of the Black Flame sect, it would be tantamount to an all-out war. It was because they couldn't kill Sword Saint Yun Fu that the Flying Fish Sword Saint was able to escape 20,000 kilometers away from Shakyamuni Mishue and Shakyamuni. Soon, the group of people arrived at the Chaos Temple and met up in the Flying Fish Sword Saint's personal space. On Tsing Hui's side, the Flying Fish Sword Saint and Valiant Sword Saint brought Dharma King Mi Shui and Dharma King Chanji. On the other hand, on the Black Flame Sect side, there were two famous Almighties, Dharma King Galuo and Dharma King Black Lotus. Dharma King Black Lotus was a celestial earth-level expert. He was much more important than the ordinary Almighties. Seeing Shakyamuni Jialua and Shakyamuni Black Lotus bring Sword Saint Yun Fu over, Sword Saint Fei Yu and Sword Saint Long Shao hurriedly asked, "Senior Yun Fu, are you alright?" Obviously, Sword Saint Yun Fu had just recovered a little. He was barely able to maintain the state of communicating with the Chaos Temple. Hearing the two's question, he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "I'm fine. I was just tortured. This time, I'm in big trouble. I was actually captured alive. Sigh, in the end, I still have to rely on the two of you to come and help me. I'm really ashamed." Seeing that Sword Saint Yun Fu was fine, Sword Saint Fei Yu and Sword Saint Long Shao heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, Tsing Hui looked behind Dharma King Galuo and Dharma King Black Lotus and asked in a deep voice, "Where's Sword Saint Hidden Sword?" "We agreed to exchange one person for one person. We have your Black Flame Sect's Dharma King Chanji and Dharma King Mi Shui in exchange for Sword Saint Hidden Sword and Yun Fu. Why do I only see Yun Fu and not Sword Saint Hidden Sword? I'm very sorry about Sword Saint Hidden Sword. He was killed by our suffering true God," Dharma King Black Lotus said with a look of pity. "What? Brother Sword Saint Hidden Sword, he actually..." Sword Saint Yun Fu was in disbelief when he heard the news. "Are you kidding?" However, Tsing Hui didn't believe him. He said expressionlessly, "I just sent someone to Sword Saint Hidden Sword to take a look. The sword essence that he left behind hasn't completely disappeared. It's obvious that he's still alive. Are you trying to fool me?" "Huh?" Dharma King Black Lotus's face changed slightly. He looked at Tsing Hui with a tinge of coercion in his eyes and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm the Supreme Elder of Sword Saint Hidden Sword." Tsing Hui didn't want to create trouble for Tianxiong at such a crucial moment. The Supreme Elder of Sword Saint Hidden Sword? Someone like Sword Saint Hidden Sword? Dharma King Black Lotus's eyes shone brightly. After a while, he said, "Sword Saint Hidden Sword was killed by Suffering True God personally." When we asked, Suffering True God's answer was vague. I guess I misunderstood. Sword Saint Hidden Sword shouldn't be dead yet. Tsing Hui faintly sensed that something was wrong with Dharma King Black Lotus's expression. However, he didn't hesitate to ask, "What are you waiting for? Or do you think that the lives of the Almighties in Black Flame Sect aren't more important than Sword Saint Hidden Sword?" As soon as Qing Su finished speaking, Shakyamuni Chanji and Shakyamuni Mishue's faces became rather ugly. They looked at Shakyamuni Black Lotus immediately. Even though they did not say anything, their dissatisfaction was clear. Dharma King Black Lotus couldn't decide the life and death of the two Almighties. He originally thought that Sword Saint Hidden Sword was just someone who was accompanying him. He didn't expect one of the three people in front of him to be an Almighty from Sword Saint Hidden Sword. If he didn't bring Sword Saint Hidden Sword out, he definitely wouldn't let it go. Thinking of this, he hesitated for a while before saying, "I'll ask Suffering True God again." Then, his body gradually dimmed. "I didn't expect Sword Saint Hidden Sword to give birth to someone like you. No wonder Brother Sword Saint Hidden Sword could settle this grudge that had lasted for 1,000 years. After Dharma King Black Lotus left, the Floating Cloud Sword Saint couldn't help but look at Tsing Hui. "Thank you for your help, Floating Cloud Sword Saint." Tsing Hui bowed slightly. The Floating Cloud Sword Saint quickly waved his hand and said, "It's just a joke. Not only did I not help Sword Saint Hidden Sword, I even got myself into trouble. In the end, I even had to trouble you, Flying Fish, and Long Shao to save me. Sigh, don't worry, Floating Cloud Sword Saint. Everything will be fine," Tsing Hui said. While they were talking, Master Black Lotus, who had left, appeared again. True God Suffering has said that Hidden Sword Venerable has indeed been captured by him. Because Hidden Sword Venerable is proficient in the art of sword forging, the true God wants to force Hidden Sword Venerable to hand over the many Taoist items, flying swords, and divine weapons that Hidden Sword Venerable has. Because he did not control his strength, Hidden Sword Venerable has been severely injured. I'm afraid he won't be able to wake up in a short period of time. Therefore, we can either postpone the exchange of hostages to 10 days later, or he can bring the unconscious Hidden Sword Venerable over and do the exchange directly. If you're worried, we can let you choose the exchange location. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.